Chapter 491, Yin-Yang Energies Enhancement, Prelude to War. This is indeed quite astonishing. Is this a feature of the Dragon Roar physique? Or did I absorb too little of the Dragon Roar origin source? Lu Chongsheng was puzzled in his heart. He did not dwell on it and continued to ask, Zi Xiao, how long will it take for your Dragon Roar physique to recover on its own? If the Dragon Roar physique could constantly recover, and quickly at that, it would be troublesome. Because this absorption had made Ling Zixiu's body extremely weak. Even with the Nirvana art and the life transference technique, these two secret techniques, she would not be able to withstand another absorption by the Dragon Invocation technique in a short period of time. She must recuperate well, wait for her vital energy to recover, before she could undergo a second absorption. I'm not too clear on this either, maybe a year, possibly half a year. Ling Zixiao lightly shook her head and spoke softly. Half a year, a year. Hearing this, Lu Changsheng's brows furrowed slightly. Based on his estimation, for Ling Zixiao to recuperate her body, it would take at least 3 to 4 months, or even half a year. By that progress, Ling Zixiu's Dragon Roar physique would also have more or less recovered. Under such circumstances, it would be very difficult for him to completely absorb and plunder the origin source of the Dragon Roar physique. It's uncertain how many times he would need to absorb to completely plunder the Dragon Roar origin source. True, each strand of Dragon Roar origin source was beneficial to him. But the issue was that each absorption of the Dragon Roar origin source, the eruption of the Dragon Roar physique, would bring a life-threatening danger to Ling Zixiao. To stabilize Ling Zixiu's vitality, he needed to pay a huge price and consume lifespan. So, he could not keep solving Ling Zixiu's problem in this manner. After all, he was just a foundation establishment cultivator. With only over 200 years of lifespan. If too much of his lifespan was lost, it would affect other aspects of his life as well. Now that I've broken through the 5th layer of the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art, as long as I refine the 9 Treasure Jade Rui into my life-bound treasured bone and obtain the 9 great divine abilities, perhaps I can treat Zi Xiao's condition with the healing divine light, Lu Chongsheng pondered. The biggest problem with Ling Zixiao under the backlash of the Dragon Roar physique was the withering and fragility of her meridians and dantian. If he could nourish and restore Ling Zixiu's body, meridians, and dantian, then, by using the Dragon Invocation technique to absorb the Dragon Roar origin source, she would not face a life or death situation from the backlash. Thus, he wouldn't need to pay such a high price to extend Ling Zixiu's life. He could use heavenly and earthly treasures in other ways to let Ling Zixiao gradually recover. Don't worry. In the time to come, you take good care of yourself, recover well. Whatever elixir medicines you need, I will concoct them for you directly. Lu Chongsheng said, as he embraced Ling Zixiao in his arms. Lu Lang, if I consume too many spiritual medicines and heavenly and earthly treasures to nourish my body and meridians during this period, I'm afraid it will hasten the recovery of the Dragon Roar physique. Ling Zixiao pursed her lips and confided to Lu Chongsheng about the characteristics of the Dragon Roar physique. She had broken through to foundation establishment many years ago. But her cultivation level had not advanced one bit. She was still at the first level of foundation establishment. On one hand, the backlash from the Dragon Roar physique when breaking through to foundation establishment caused her meridians and dantian to wither, making it difficult to cultivate. On the other hand, she dared not cultivate. If she cultivated, or even consumed elixir medicines and spiritual medicines, it would cause the Dragon Roar physique to absorb these energies, converting them into the Dragon Roar of Yang energy. The more Dragon Roar of Yang energy in her body, the more vigorous it became, making the withering of her meridians and lifespan faster. This is also why she only purchased cold and yin spiritual medicines and heavenly and earthly treasures from others. Because only cold and yin spiritual medicines and treasures would not be absorbed by the Dragon Roar physique. They could suppress the Dragon Roar of Yang energy. Hiss. Lu Chongsheng took in a deep breath, feeling that the Dragon Roar physique was really troublesome. In that case, a great number of spirit pills and spiritual medicines could not be used on Ling Zixiao. He could only try to find more cold and yin attribute elixir medicines and spiritual medicines. He exhaled gently and comforted her in a soft voice, "Don't worry, with me here, I'll find a way." Upon hearing these words, an unprecedentedly sweet sense of security surged in Ling Zixiao's heart. On her journey, she had experienced many things. But she had never been tenderly cared for like a woman before. Now, she finally experienced this feeling. And it made her feel very nice. Because of mental exhaustion, Ling Zixiao nestled into Lu Changsheng's arms, her eyelashes gradually drooping, her pale complexion revealing a tranquil smile as she slowly drifted to sleep. Hearing the even and rhythmic breathing of the beauty, Lu Changsheng gently held the fragrant and soft beauty, his palms softly caressing her smooth and delicate skin. In his heart, he silently invoked, "System." Suddenly, the system interface appeared before his eyes. Name, Lu Changsheng. Identity, son-in-law of the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. Cultivation level, Foundation Establishment 2nd level, lifespan, 38/263, talents, 4th grade spiritual root, Gengjin body constitution, intermediate spiritual body, blood talisman spiritual body, superior spiritual body, cultivation techniques, 100 refinements treasure body art, 7 luminaries great freedom sword scripture, yin-yang harmony technique, 99 mystical talisman scripture. Immortal beauty technique, spells, 7 luminary sword radiance, 7 luminary sword shield, 7 luminary sword escape, items, misty sky bead, profound origin bead, book of malevolent curses and fates, luminous treasure tree, golden armor beam mother scripture, life substituting talisman, coagulation crystal elixir, magical treasures, 9 treasure jade rui, black dragon magical bead, 100 steeds towering pagoda lock, skills, alchemy, 2nd rank, talisman making, 2nd rank, puppetry, 2nd rank, spirit slaughterer, 2nd rank, spiritual pets, Mount Summer tree king, 9 netherhound, 6-winged golden silkworm, cold blue dark turtle, peach blossom goo, hope goo, offspring, 153 out of 153, lost 6 years of lifespan. Lu Changsheng looked at the lifespan section on the system panel. He felt that he must think of other methods to resolve Ling Zixiao's issues. Chapter 492, Yin-Yang Energies Enhancement, Omen of War. Alone with the Dragon Invocation Technique, the Nirvana Art, and the Life Transference Technique, trying to solve the Dragon Roar Physique was basically impossible. Unless he had infinite lifespan. Otherwise, with his lifespan of just over 200 years of foundation establishment, he simply couldn't withstand it. The main problem, he mused, is still the backlash from the Dragon Roar Physique erupting. If during the process of collecting life essence, a certain kind of yin cold power is used to suppress this Dragon Roar primordial force, it would be much simpler for me to collect life essence. Lu Changsheng reflected on the previous experience of collecting life essence from the Dragon Roar Physique using the Dragon Invocation Technique. He felt that as long as he had certain treasures or powers to suppress the backlash of the Dragon Roar origin source while he was collecting life essence, he could then proceed with the collection of life essence from the Dragon Roar Physique with peace of mind. There would be no need to immediately use a secret technique to stabilize Ling Zixiao's condition right after collecting a thread of origin source. However, to suppress the backlash of the Dragon Roar Physique, you would need at least 3rd-rank spiritual medicine, treasures, or ask a nascent soul immortal who cultivates Yin Chill attribute technique to make a move. Lu Changsheng knew that ordinary elixir medicines and treasures simply couldn't contain the backlash of the Dragon Roar Physique. At least a 3rd-rank treasure would be necessary. While it was true that all the items he obtained from the system lottery were of the 3rd rank, the chance of drawing just the right spiritual medicine or treasure that could help Ling Zixiao was extremely slim. As for a nascent soul immortal who practiced Yin Chill attribute technique, Lu Changsheng couldn't even imagine it was possible. Even if he could afford to pay a great price to request the help of a nascent soul immortal, he wouldn't have the face to ask someone to suppress the backlash with Yin Chill mana while he was collecting life essence. Forget it, I can only take it slow, now that the dragon roar of yang energy is receding, and the yin-yang balance is temporarily stable. There's no need to worry about lifespan for the time being, Lu Chongsheng reassured himself. Given Ling Zixiu's original condition where her meridians and dantian were continually withering, she would have been lucky to live another year. Now that most of the dragon roar yang energy within her body had been collected, there was no need to worry about life-threatening danger for a year or two. Therefore, he still had plenty of time to resolve Ling Zixiu's issues. At that moment, Lu Chongsheng thought of the time when he had collected the dragon roar origin source, only to have it devoured and refined by the yin-yang energies. He looked towards the yin-yang energies swirling around his yin-yang 5 elements foundation base in his qi ocean core. The yin-yang energies, after devouring and refining the dragon roar origin source, seemed to have grown slightly stronger. He had a vague feeling that his foundation, his Dao foundation, might also have improved a bit. However, this improvement was so subtle and small that it wasn't immediately noticeable. Could my Dao foundation still improve? Lu Chongsheng looked at the circulating yin-yang energies and thought to himself. He looked forward to continuing the collection of dragon roar origin source, now with a bit more anticipation. He was curious to see if, after the yin-yang energies had devoured enough dragon roar origin source, his Dao foundation might experience a significant improvement, and perhaps even, transform. If it were to transform, that would be quite extraordinary. Phew. Feeling the fatigue in his body and mind, Lu Chongsheng decided not to ponder further. Embracing the warm and tender figure in his arms, he closed his eyes and slowly drifted off to sleep. 3 days later, Lu Chongsheng and Ling Zixiu walked out of their cave dwelling. At this moment, the two of them seemed closer and more natural together, like a well-matched couple. Walking in the Immortal City, Lu Chongsheng could see that there was a marked increase in patrolling law enforcement cultivators. I wonder what happened in the city in the past few days. Lu Chongsheng thought back to a few days ago when he was treating Ling Zixiu. Meanwhile the Celestial City was suppressing demon cultivators. Ling Zixiu was also curious. Although her mind had been hazy at the time, she vaguely sensed that there had been considerable commotion within the city. Soon, the two of them inquired about the past few days' happenings. They learned that a few days ago, several nascent soul demon cultivators were lurking in the Celestial City. Therefore, the Heavenly Sword sect activated the Celestial City formation to suppress and kill these demon cultivators. In the battle, one nascent soul immortal was captured and suppressed, 2 nascent soul immortals perished. Had it not been for one nascent soul immortal self-destructing, the remaining demonic path cultivators would have nearly all been suppressed and captured. 6 nascent soul immortals, and several false core immortals, Lu Chongsheng and Ling Zixiu were surprised when they heard the news. They hadn't expected the situation to be so severe on that day. It was known that in the Jianghu country cultivation realm, a family force led by a nascent soul immortal was considered a famous and top powerhouse. Yet now, so many demonic path nascent soul and false core cultivators had been hiding in Jianghu Immortal City, obviously with no small schemes. At the same time, the two were astonished at the Heavenly Sword sect's actions. They managed to suppress 3 nascent soul immortals in such a short time. No wonder the commotion was so big at the time. Alas, the world of cultivation is becoming more chaotic. I've heard that both the Qingyun sect's domain and the Imperial Spirit sect's domain have seen the appearance of demon cultivators and demonic sects. Yes, wasn't it said that the Heavenly Corpse sect and the 5 Poisons cult from Jin Kingdom challenged the Xianjian True Monarch from the Heavenly Sword sect? It is still unknown who won or lost in that battle. If the Xianjian True Monarch is defeated, then our Jianghu country cultivation realm will be in danger. Someone nearby said with a sigh. Lu Chongsheng heard these words and thought of his journey to Jianghu Immortal City, where Xiahou family from the Dark Waters pursued Chu Qingyi. Through these events, he realized that something significant was about to happen in the Jianghu country cultivation realm. His heart sank, and he couldn't help but worry. Could a war be about to break out in Jianghu country's cultivation realm? He had read many books in his days. He knew the history of cultivation realms. According to the records of the history of the southern wilderness, there was no shortage of battles between nations. After all, the resources of a country are finite. If progress is stagnant, the easiest solution is naturally conquest. He was able to lead a relatively safe life these past 20 years, thanks also to the relatively stable environment of the Jianghu country cultivation realm. Now, with several demon cultivator incidents, coupled with 2 nascent soul true lords from Jin Kingdom challenging the Xianxian true monarch, it seems there are several indications of the prelude to a cultivation realm war. Once war breaks out, the stability will be shattered, and as a member of Jianghu country, he would inevitably be affected. Chapter 493, She's actually a disciple of the 5 Poisons cult? Extra for 500 monthly votes, _1, is Lu Lang concerned about the current situation in the Jianghu country cultivation realm? Heaven Knowledge Tower should have intelligence on this matter. Lu Lang can take a look, so you can have a general understanding of the situation. Ling Zixiao saw a hint of gravity on Lu Changsheng's face and spoke in her melodious and clear voice. She knew Lu Changsheng was preparing to establish his family's power. If war between the 2 countries were to break out, such family powers would be easily drawn into it, struggling to maintain neutrality. Good. Lu Changsheng nodded. For such matters, instead of making wild guesses himself, it was better to go to the intelligence organization to purchase relevant information. With the relevant information, he could better judge the current situation. Moreover, if war were to break out between the 2 cultivation realms, it wouldn't happen overnight, it would take a process. Soon after, the 2 arrived on the 2nd floor of Heaven Knowledge Tower. Ling Zixiao was familiar with this place and had a membership token, which saved them from many protocols. I want to purchase information about the cultivation realms of Jianghu country and Jin Kingdom. Preferably details on the demonic path incident in Jiuxiao Immortal City and the demonic path incident in the Qingyun region. Lu Changsheng got straight to the point. From his recent understanding, he knew the demon cultivators who caused trouble in Jiuxiao Immortal City most likely came from the neighboring cultivation realm of Jin Kingdom. Information between the cultivation realms of Jianghu country and Jin Kingdom is quite extensive. You must be interested in the affairs related to the war between the 2 countries, right? As for the Jiuxiao Immortal City incident, our establishment has just collected related information these past few days, available in 4 levels, Grade A, B, C, and D, priced at 3,000, 1,800, 1,000, and 600 spirit stones respectively. Regarding the demonic path incident in the Qingyun region, we have 3 levels, Grade A, B, and C, priced at 1,200, 700, and 300 spirit stones respectively. Which level of intelligence does Your Excellency require? The black-clothed person from Heaven Knowledge Tower spoke calmly. That expensive? Lu Changsheng frowned slightly upon hearing this. He said, yes, I need information about the cultivation realms of Jianghu country and Jin Kingdom, such as the sect master of Heavenly Corpse sect, the 5 Poisons cult leader, and the challenge to Xianxian true monarch Li Duanshuan. For the incidents in Jiuxiao Immortal City and the Qingyun region demonic path, it'll take the Grade A intelligence. Lu Changsheng stated this. The price was exorbitant. But as someone at the bottom of the cultivation world, his channels for obtaining intelligence were limited. He had no choice but to spend spirit stones to acquire relevant information. As for the sect master of Heavenly Corpse sect, the 5 Poisons cult leader, and the challenge to Xianxian true monarch Li Duanshuan, currently there's not much in-depth intelligence available. Since the decisive battle is imminent, in roughly 10 days, we will have related intelligence information, and at that time, you can come to our Heaven Knowledge Tower. As for the Jiuxiao Immortal City incident and the Qingyun region demonic path incident, that would be a total of 4,200 spirit stones. The black-clothed person spoke, stating it outright. A decisive battle is imminent? Lu Changsheng nodded slightly, knowing the challenge must be in the next few days and that it would take several days before the outcome was known. He took out 4,200 spirit stones from his storage bag. In the future, when purchasing further related information on this subject, with this jade slip, Your Excellency will only need to pay 50% of the spirit stones. The black-clothed person took out 2 purple jade slips, handed them to Lu Chongsheng, and spoke. Good, thank you. Lu Chongsheng nodded slightly, received the jade slips, and scanned their content with his divine sense. Indeed, the intelligence was worthy of grade A. Their contents were indeed very detailed. The Jiuxiao Immortal City Demonic Path Incident, origins and related information of these demonic path cultivators were explained. Additionally, what they had been up to around Jiuxiao Immortal City lately was broadly described. It seems like the incident in Jiuxiao Immortal City was indeed Jin Kingdom Cultivation Realm's preparation for invading Jiang Country Cultivation Realm. After reviewing the incident in Jiuxiao Immortal City, Lu Chongsheng immediately understood. Because these cultivators were primarily from the 3 great demon sects of Jin Kingdom, Heavenly Corpse Sect, 5 Poisons Cult, and Yiming Ghost Sect. The remaining loose cultivators also had intricate relations with these 3 great demon sects. Meng Xiaochan, she is actually a disciple of the Jin Kingdom's 5 Poisons Cult? Lu Chongsheng, recognizing 2 familiar faces from the information in the jade slip, had previously met a woman in a black dress and a girl in a white dress in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Based on the indications from the peach blossom goo, he knew the girl in the white dress was Meng Xiaochan. He had not expected Meng Xiaochan to be a person from the demonic path of Jin Kingdom. The jade slip did not contain detailed information about Meng Xiaochan. It only introduced her general origin. She came from the 5 Poisons Cult. As for the woman in black, who was with her, the intelligence indicated that she was most likely Nangong Meili, the Heaven Spider emissary of Jin Kingdom's 5 Poisons Cult. Currently, the 2 were being hunted and wanted by the Heavenly Sword Sect. After briefly reviewing this information, Lu Chongsheng looked at another jade slip, which contained intelligence on the demonic path happenings in the Qingyun region. The Xiahou family of Blackwater Pool served as hidden agents for the Heavenly Corpse sect of Jin Kingdom, with their patriarch Xiahou Jia once being a disciple of Heavenly Corpse sect. Qingyun sect summoned all subordinated forces to expel the Xiahou clan of Blackwater Pool. Xiahou family set up the 3rd-rank clan defending Great Formation Myriad Corpses Dark Eternity Formation, and Qingyun sect broke it with the Earth-Shaking Formation. Patriarch Xiahou Jia, using the earth vein energy of Blackwater Pool, turned himself into the Dark Demon Corpse combined with Dao Soldier Corpse, fighting power comparable to mid-nascent soul stage. In this battle, Qingyun sect's Kaiyun True Immortal suffered severe injuries before slaying Xiahou Jia, leading to numerous familia casualties in the Qingyun region, among them, Bai family ancestor of White Bird Lake perished, Zhao family ancestor of White Tiger Mountain perished, Huang family ancestor of Yellow Cloud Mountain perished. Lu Chongsheng, reading through the casualty information, immediately paused. He looked carefully, and not seeing news of the Lu family ancestor of Qingzhou Mountain's death, he breathed a sigh of relief. Chapter 494, She's actually a disciple of the 5 Poisons Cult? Extra for 500 monthly votes. If Lu Yuanzhong were to fall in this battle, Qingzhou Mountain would be in danger. His wives, concubines, and children are currently all still on Qingzhou Mountain. Ancestor Xiahou Wua, a false core immortal who practices the heavenly mysterious Sha technique, has secretly fled during this major battle and is currently still hiding within the Jiang Country Cultivation Realm. The Luo family of Zijin Valley, investigated by the Qingyun sect as a covert agent of the demon path, has been completely eradicated. The loose cultivator Liang Tian is a demonic path cultivator. Lu Chongsheng roughly finished reading the information related to the demon path incidents in the Qingyun region. The main issue was the commotion caused by the Xiahou family of the Blackwater. It was quite significant. Not only did it cause heavy losses to many families and forces in the Qingyun region, but it also injured the nascent soul immortals of the Qingyun sect. So many covert agents and powers of the demon path? It seems that the war between the Jiang Country Cultivation Realm and the Jin Kingdom Cultivation Realm has been brewing for a while, and it's just that I am at too low of a stage to come into contact with such information, which is why I have been unaware until now. However, the real determinant of the war between nations will still be on Xianjian true monarch Li Duanshuan. If this Xianjian true monarch can repel the two nascent soul true lords of Jin Kingdom, this crisis will naturally be resolved. If this Xianjian true monarch were to be defeated, it's expected that the three great demonic sects of Jin Kingdom would then initiate war. After finishing this information, Lu Chongsheng came to a rough conclusion in his heart. This conclusion made his heart slightly heavy. After all, it was a 2-against-1 situation. Moreover, according to the information, the duel is initiated by the two great nascent soul true lords of Jin Kingdom challenging Li Duanshuan. This indicates that the situation in Jianghu country is very unfavorable. He exhaled lightly, not thinking too much, and walked out of Heaven Knowledge Tower with Ling Zixiao. He handed the information jade slip in his hand to Ling Zixiao. He said aloud, "Zixiao, in about half a month, I'll return to the Qingyun region. The current state of affairs in the cultivation world is unstable." He planned to head back to Qingzhou Mountain as soon as news about the decisive battle between Li Duanshuan and the nascent souls of Jin Kingdom came out. As for Ling Zixiao, if under normal circumstances, since he had not yet established his own family, he wouldn't mind Ling Zixiao continuing to stay in Jiuxiao Immortal City. He would have her come over once he finalized his spiritual land. But the problem was that Ling Zixiao's current condition didn't allow her to be separated from him. Even though her dragon roar physique was suppressed, she still accumulates the dragon roar of yang energy every day. He needs to regularly organize and resolve it using the dragon invocation technique. Alright, during this half-month, I will handle all affairs and then return with you, Lord Lu, Ling Zixiao replied, and from her somewhat pale and frail face emerged an elegant and gentle smile. She settled in Jiuxiao Immortal City for the sake of extending her life, seeking a solution to her dragon roar physique. Now that she found a path to resolving her dragon roar physique, naturally, there was no need to continue staying in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Moreover, according to the spiritual contract and vows they made initially, Lu Chongsheng is fully committed to resolving her dragon roar physique, and she in turn must help Lu Chongsheng build up his family. Zixiao, do you have any trustworthy people, channels of relations? In the future, I will likely need to use this channel of relations to purchase or acquire certain materials in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Lu Chongsheng mused quietly. After this trip back to Qingzhou Mountain, unless there are exceptionally important matters, he definitely wouldn't come to Jiuxiao Immortal City again. The travel time was just too long. But he has a great demand for rare spiritual medicine and materials for third-rank talisman making. These treasures, he could only purchase or procure in an immortal city. Previously, he thought of using the Li sisters, Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu, as an avenue. Having Li Xingrua purchase certain spiritual medicines and materials in the immortal city for him, and then asking Xiao Xia to bring them over to him via the Qingyun sect individuals. Now that he has the relationship with Ling Zixiao, he thought about expanding his network of relations through her. Lord Lu, rest assured, I have several good friends in the immortal city. If my lord has any needs, just inform me, Ling Zixiao said with a dignified and graceful manner. Although she now had sincere feelings for Lu Chongsheng, she was clear in her mind that she and Lu Chongsheng were still at a stage of exchanging benefits. Now that Lu Chongsheng is doing everything he can to resolve her dragon roar physique, naturally, she would help him as much as possible. Moreover, Lu Chongsheng seeking her help was also a form of trust in her. Good, Lu Chongsheng nodded his head. Then he parted ways with Ling Zixiao and returned to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, preparing to continue concocting elixir medicines for Ling Zixiao. If it wasn't for the several furnaces of life-saving elixirs he had concocted before to supplement the dragon roar physique, it was feared that it would cost much more to stabilize Ling Zixiao's condition. Thus, he prepared to concoct some elixir medicines during these days to regulate Ling Zixiao's body. Otherwise, considering Ling Zixiao's current state, her strength might not even match a late-stage energy refinement cultivator. It would be very troublesome if they encountered danger on their way back. Elder Yi, Li Xingyu called out. Upon seeing Lu Changsheng, the adorable face of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion's Li Xingyu immediately showed a delighted expression, excitedly shouting. Previously, Lu Changsheng had mentioned he would be busy with some matters and couldn't come over. But after not seeing him for over half a month, many people had come to inquire about purchasing elixir medicines, and in just 8 more days, it would be the day of the Immortal City shop assessment, which made her a bit worried. Hee, little you, Lu Changsheng looked at the young girl, a faint smile appearing on his face. He found the girl's personality quite endearing. Having interacted with her for a while, he also regarded her as a younger generation. After chatting with Li Xingyu for a while, he learned that Li Xingrua had recently been busy contacting second-rank alchemists, hoping to invite an alchemist to preside over the shop. Alright, I am off to concoct elixirs. Lu Changsheng simply chatted for a while before heading to the alchemy chamber to start alchemy and talisman making. Why does Elder Yi have the scent of a woman on him? Chapter 495, She's actually a disciple of the 5 Poisons cult? Extra for 500 monthly votes. After Lu Changsheng left, Li Xingyu sniffed hard, faintly detecting a delicate fragrance typically associated with a woman. Previously, she had never smelled this scent on Lu Changsheng. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. Inside the alchemy chamber of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, huff, 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 8 miniature dragon heads were exhaling purple flames, causing the fiery red pill furnace to churn with spiritual mechanism, wafting out a faint scent of medicine. Open. At that moment, Lu Changsheng looked at the pill furnace where the spiritual mechanism surged, forming hand seals as he executed the spell to open the furnace. The lid of the furnace flew up, with steam and glowing mist filling the entire room. Swoosh, 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 among the waves of heat, 9 elixir pills fell into Lu Changsheng's hands. These 9 frost elixirs should be somewhat effective for Zi Xiao's current condition, Lu Changsheng said, holding the pills and exhaling softly. Like the commonly seen cold attribute pills, Ling Zixiao had taken too many of them to the point they were ineffective. After inquiring about Ling Zixiao's condition and what pills she had taken, he chose to refine these frost elixirs. The main effect of these frost elixirs was to dispel fire toxins. But they also had healing and marrow-cleansing effects. Using such pills for Ling Zixiao was a considerable waste. But there was no other way. Given Ling Zixiao's current condition, ordinary spirit pills were completely ineffective. She could only rely on such elixirs to stabilize her condition and nurture her health. After finishing the elixir production, Lu Changsheng walked out of the alchemy chamber. He prepared to visit the formation shop of Zi Xiao to clear out the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Zixiao. Senior Yi. In the store's main hall, Li Xingrua had returned. Seeing Lu Changsheng, she immediately raised her voice and called out. Xingrua, how is it going? Have you managed to invite a second-rank alchemist? Lu Changsheng asked with a smile upon seeing Li Xingrua. Not yet. Li Xingrua pursed her lips slightly upon hearing this, a trace of dejection appearing on her face. Although the Li family would no longer target their treasure elixir pavilion, second-rank alchemists were extremely rare. Finding a second-rank alchemist to take up residence on short notice wasn't easy. It's okay, there's no need to rush. By the way, there are only a few days left for the Immortal City shop assessment registration, isn't it? Lu Changsheng spoke in a gentle voice. He was well aware that inviting a second-rank alchemist to stay would take time. Yes, the registration day for the assessment is in 3 days. Li Xingrua nodded lightly in confirmation. All right, I have something to attend to and will step out for a while. I will make sure to come back on time, Lu Changsheng nodded and said aloud. Thank you, Senior Yi. Li Xingrua immediately expressed her gratitude, her face brimming with appreciation. There's no need for thanks. Lu Changsheng chuckled, waved his hand, and walked out of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion toward the Zi Xiao formation shop. Senior, please wait a moment. Upon hearing Lu Changsheng's intention, the shopkeeper immediately went to inform Ling Zixiao. It wasn't long before, with her hair lightly coiffed, her face gracefully beautiful, dressed in a lake blue skirt, and carrying herself in a voluptuous and graceful manner, Ling Zixiao descended from the upstairs. She knew Lu Chongsheng preferred not to reveal his identity in front of too many people. As usual, her voice was soft and composed as she elegantly said, "Daoist Yi, follow me." Immediately, she took Lu Chongsheng up to the third floor of the shop. The third floor was her usual living and resting area, where outsiders were not allowed to come. Knowing that Ling Zixiao was somewhat of a beauty enthusiast, Lu Chongsheng then removed the disguise of the misty sky bead. "Lu Lang, I am currently selling this shop. As for business and affairs, I have already turned them all down. Regarding the procurement and acquisition of materials you mentioned, I have contacted a few friends. In the future, if Lu Lang needs such services, I could ask them to undertake the procurement and acquisition on your behalf, then entrust it to either the Nine Heavens Commerce Guild or the Qingyun Commerce Guild to deliver to the Qingyun region. I have already looked into it. The Nine Heavens Commerce Guild of the Heavenly Sword Sect and the Qingyun Commerce Guild of the Qingyun Sect often interact and have such business services," Ling Zixiao said, speaking thus. "Oh, so the guild can deliver directly to the Qingyun region?" Upon hearing this, Lu Chongsheng raised an eyebrow. He had previously thought about having the people from the Qingyun sect collect the materials through Shaoxia. It seemed now that it would be sufficient to have them directly delivered by the Commerce Guild. Yes, the guilds typically provide this kind of service. Ling Zixiao nodded with a slight smile, indicating that the major commerce guilds did indeed conduct such business and had such services. However, the price was quite high, and they charged based on a percentage of the total value of the goods. But the upside was that they guaranteed safety and credibility. "Good, Zixiao, later I will give you a list. You can have them purchase externally separately, and once a certain quantity is reached, entrust the guild to send it over," Lu Chongsheng promptly said. With this channel in place, he could slowly gather many of the materials and spiritual medicines he needed in Immortal City. Procuring them externally himself could also greatly reduce the cost. This was unlike before when he had to buy at high prices from large commerce guilds and shops. After he finished speaking, he took out a frost elixir and said, "Zixiao, this is the elixir I have crafted for you. See how it works?" "Thank you, Lu Lang." Ling Zixiao responded with a tender smile, receiving the porcelain bottle. She poured out a blue, crystal-clear elixir. "Is this a frost elixir?" She immediately recognized the elixir. "Yes, it is indeed a frost elixir. Given your current condition, most elixirs are ineffective, but since you haven't taken a frost elixir before, it will help you regulate your body somewhat." Lu Chongsheng nodded as he said this. "You've gone to great lengths, Lu Lang." A hint of emotion surfaced on Ling Zixiao's face. She had learned about the various cooling and healing elixirs in her initial attempt to treat her injuries. The reason she hadn't taken many frost elixirs was partly due to their high cost, and also because their cost-effectiveness was too low. The main effect of the frost elixir was to remove fire poison, with secondary effects of marrow cleansing and healing. To take the frost elixir for its minor healing efficacy was a severe waste. It's no trouble. As long as I can help you get your body in order, it's all worth it," Lu Chongsheng waved his hand and said in a warm tone. He could rely on his own second-rank alchemy skills. And that he could craft the elixirs himself. Otherwise, given Ling Zixiao's current condition, she was utterly a gold-consuming giant. Even an abundance of spirit stones would not withstand such expenditure. However, seeing the expression in Ling Zixiao's eyes made him feel that it was all worth it. After all, he was not unaware that initially, Ling Zixiao's interactions with him were all an act. But after spending some time together, her affection for him had clearly grown. As long as he kept it up and continued to build rapport, the chances were good that she would wholeheartedly become the mother of his child in the future. Ling Zixiao smiled, nodding her head gently. She came to the bedside, removed her lake blue, exquisitely embroidered shoes, revealing her slender and delicate ankles beneath her dress, and her jade feet wrapped in snow-white silk stockings. Then, she sat down cross-legged, took the frost elixir, and began to assimilate it. Chapter 496, Lost a 2 vs 1 battle, can you even play? _1 Ling Zixiao sat cross-legged on the bed. After taking the frost elixir, strands of cold air emanated and flowed around her body. Lu Chongsheng quietly observed the effects of the frost elixir on Ling Zixiao. After a long time, he came to a conclusion. There were effects, but indeed, they were quite average. Compared to the time and cost spent, it was truly disappointing. Unless there is a third-rank elixir, or some rare cold attribute elixir medicines. Otherwise, wanting to regulate and nourish the body and heal the withered meridians and dantian is too difficult. Lu Chongsheng sighed softly in his heart. However, he had not given up. Once Ling Zixiao finished assimilating the elixir, he passed on the tender embrace technique, a dual cultivation technique, to her. This technique belonged to the higher tier of dual cultivation techniques. Both the male and female participants would benefit. It would definitely help in Ling Zixiao's recovery. Ling Zixiao saw that Lu Chongsheng had taken out another secret dual cultivation technique and didn't quite know what to say. She wondered if Lu Chongsheng had obtained some kind of romantic inheritance. Why were all his techniques related to dual cultivation? However, she did not ask much more. Under Lu Chongsheng's guidance, she quickly understood the technique. Straight away, the two began their cultivation. Afterward, Lu Lang, I can't do this anymore, just once, and Ling Zixiao's face turned crimson, like a puddle of mud, nestling in Lu Chongsheng's embrace. On the one hand, the effort of the tender embrace technique was rather intense. On the other hand, her current physical condition was truly very bad. After her Dragon Roar origin source was depleted and she suffered from the backlash of the Dragon Roar physique, her body was extremely weak. If said that before, she still counted as a foundation establishment cultivator, and could exert a 10th or 20th of her mana. Then now, her strength wasn't even comparable to some energy refinement late-stage cultivators. It's alright, take it slow. Lu Chongsheng's palms were gentle and soft, his soothing voice comforting the beauty. He knew that healing was not something to be rushed. Lu Lang, in a few more days, you will be going back. How do you plan to arrange for the sisters at Treasure Elixir Pavilion? Ling Zixiao snuggled in Lu Chongsheng's arms, whispering. My encounters with them were fleeting, what plans could I possibly have? Lu Chongsheng felt puzzled upon hearing this. Huh? My lord, didn't you go to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion with the intention of taking the Li sisters under your wing? I see that both sisters are quite pretty, especially the elder sister, who's not only extremely beautiful but also a high-quality alchemist. With your tutelage and guidance, Lu Lang, I reckon it won't be an issue for her to become a second-rank alchemist in the future. Ling Zixiao drew circles on Lu Chongsheng's chest with her slender jade fingers, smiling as she spoke. Although through the days they spent together, her perception of Lu Chongsheng had changed, she still believed that Lu Chongsheng's choice to settle in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion was because he fancied the Li sisters. What nonsense are you speaking? Am I the kind of man to take in every woman I see? I just saw that the two girls had it hard, and as it happened, I lent them a hand. Lu Chongsheng was somewhat speechless. He had a good impression of the two sisters, but he only regarded them as juniors. Besides, who would consider taking home anyone they meet to have children? Although he had thought about it when he first saw Li Xingrua, it was just a fleeting thought. Yes, indeed, I also find the sisters pitiable, orphaned and with no one to rely on. If they could be taken in by you, Lu Lang, they would then have someone to rely on. Ling Zixiao's skin was rosy and delicate, and she said with a half-smile. It seems you're getting spirited again. When he heard this, Lu Chongsheng immediately pressed her beneath him. No, my lord, have mercy. Ling Zixiao's call turned into a startled cry, her luscious voice beginning to falter, soon becoming intermittent and indistinct. 3 days later. Master Yi, you've been a great help. That day, Lu Chongsheng and Li Xingrua came to the 100 Arts Hall in Immortal City for their assessment registration. There weren't many people. After all, the number of second-rank artisans in the entire Immortal City was limited. Furthermore, not every second-rank artisan would become the featured attraction of a particular shop and come to participate in the assessment registration. Is this Master Yi Fan? As soon as Lu Chongsheng and Li Xingrua entered the alchemy hall, someone recognized him and greeted him politely. This is the owner of Little Dan Tower, a second-rank lower-tier alchemist. Li Xingrua introduced the man to Lu Chongsheng via telepathic message. Indeed, it's Yi. A pleasure to meet you. Lu Chongsheng did not know the person, but you don't slap a smiling face. Seeing that the other party was so polite, he naturally returned the greeting with courtesy. During the process, several more alchemists and elixir shop owners came to chat and greet Lu Chongsheng, expressing interest in having tea together and sharing their understanding of alchemy. After all, in the span of 3 months, Lu Chongsheng had earned a modest reputation in Immortal City. Not only could he refine second-rank superior elixir medicines, but most of the elixirs he refined were of fine and supreme quality. This was quite astonishing. Lu Chongsheng responded courteously to all of them, and afterward, he indicated that he would go into seclusion for cultivation after some time. If they knew any second-rank alchemists, they could introduce him or her to come to Treasure Elixir Pavilion to become a featured alchemist. Upon hearing this, several alchemists mentioned that they had friends who might inquire on behalf of Lu Chongsheng. Indeed, this is the benefit of having a skill, you won't starve anywhere. If the skill is notable and reaches second rank, you can make a living anywhere. After chatting with these people for a while, Lu Chongsheng thought to himself. Between the previous visits from the Li family, and the current enthusiastic networking, he deeply realized the benefits that come with having a perfected skill. Master Yi, thank you very much. Li Xingrua, who was beside him, was moved by the scene and thanked Lu Chongsheng. Chapter 497, Lost a 2 vs 1 battle, can you even play? She knew that Lu Chongsheng was about to leave and was recruiting an alchemist to preside over his store. Since her parents passed away, no one had ever been so kind to her. It made her feel intensely grateful and moved. Hee, it's a trifle. Lu Chongsheng chuckled, waving his hand dismissively. At that moment, the alchemy assessment began. The assessment was straightforward. It involved concocting a furnace of second-rank elixir medicines. Lu Chongsheng concocted a furnace of middle-grade true essence elixirs and easily passed the assessment. Afterward, he registered his identity information with Treasure Elixir Pavilion, completing the process. When verifying his identity information, his disguise provided by the Misty Sky bead went undetected. This made Lu Chongsheng silently note that with the Misty Sky bead, he could not continue conducting assessments on behalf of others. Xingrua, I will be leaving Jianghu Immortal City in a couple of days. So I won't be going back to Treasure Elixir Pavilion now. Please convey my farewell to Xingyu later. After leaving 100 Arts Hall, Lu Chongsheng directly said this to Li Xingrua. Parting was the most poignant. Lu Chongsheng was already not a person given to melancholy feelings. But it was obvious that both Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu were. Since the matter with Treasure Elixir Pavilion was resolved, he planned to leave it at that and not go back. Senior Yi. Hearing this, Li Xingruo's heart instantly filled with discomfort. During the months they had spent together, she had felt a sense of long-lost paternal love and care from Lu Chongsheng. Now, hearing about Lu Chongsheng's impending departure, she felt extremely reluctant to part. However, Lu Chongsheng had mentioned long ago that he would leave Jianghu Immortal City. Had it not been for the matters concerning her family's Treasure Elixir Pavilion, he might have left earlier. She pursed her lips lightly and raised her head to look at Lu Chongsheng, forcing a cheerful smile as she said, Xingrua wishes Senior Yi a smooth journey and may all be well with you. Well, meet again someday. Lu Chongsheng looked at her eyes which were slightly reddened and sighed softly. knowing that it was unlikely they would meet again. He thought for a moment and then said, "In the future, we can correspond through letters. I've heard that the major commercial guilds can relay things to each other. If I need to purchase certain items in the future, I might trouble you, Xingrua. And if you have any doubts about alchemy, you can also write to me. Although it might take a long time for letters to arrive, perhaps by the time I reply, you will have already resolved your doubts." Lu Chongqing spoke in a gentle manner. He gave Li Xingrua an address from Red Leaf Valley Market, a shop that sells peace charms. Senior Yi, if you have any needs, feel free to send me a letter anytime. Li Xingrua nodded upon hearing this. The steadfast clarity in her eyes was obscured by the sentimentalism of the moment. "All right." Lu Chongqing gave a light smile and then strode away. 2 days later. Is there any information on the decisive battle between Xianxian True Monarch, Heavenly Corpse Sect Master, and 5 Poisons Cult Leader? Lu Chongqing arrived at Heaven Knowledge Tower and asked aloud. There is. The intelligence report is divided into 2 grades, Grade A and Grade B, priced at 3,000 and 1,000 spirit stones respectively. The person in black replied. Grade A. Lu Chongqing stated directly. He took out 3,000 spirit stones. With this jade slip, you only need to pay 50% of the spirit stones for subsequent related updates. The person in black accepted the spirit stones and handed over a purple jade slip to Lu Chongqing. Understood. Lu Chongqing took the jade slip and nodded. Immediately, he delved into the jade slip with his divine sense to read the contents. Xianxian True Monarch fought against 2 alone, repelling both the 5 Poisons Cult Leader and the Heavenly Corpse Sect Master. When Lu Chongqing saw the message, his spirit was lifted, and a great weight fell from his heart. He knew that the battle had likely averted a war between Jiang Country and Jin Kingdom. Xianxian True Monarch Li Duanshuan, a middle-stage nascent soul cultivator, practices the Heavenly Sword sect-defining cultivation method, the Heavenly Sword True Scripture. In a 2-against-1 situation, not only did he repel the Heavenly Corpse Sect Master and the 5 Poisons Cult Leader, but he also nearly slew the 5 Poisons Cult Leader. Had it not been for the 5 Poisons Cult Leader conceding defeat and the Supreme Elder of the Yiming Ghost Sect intervening with the sect's treasures, the Myriad Ghosts Blood Pool, and Myriad Ghosts Dao Soldier, Li Duanshuan had the chance to slay a nascent soul True Monarch. Lu Chongqing was looking at the intelligence report within the jade slip. He felt some admiration for this nascent soul True Monarch of Jiang Country. No wonder Yun Jianfeng, a golden core true person from the Heavenly Sword sect, had arrived in Jiuxiao Immortal City to exterminate demon cultivators at such a time. It was because Li Duanshuan was confident of victory in this battle. No need for too many to stand by his side. This battle may have prevented a war between Jiang Country and Jin Kingdom from breaking out, but I suspect there will still be undercurrents, and it won't be peaceful. Lu Chongqing thought to himself. He felt that things couldn't possibly end so easily. After I return this time, I must accelerate my progress and enhance my strength. Whether it's childbirth or the children's growth, I need to pay close attention to both aspects. Otherwise, if a war between countries erupts and my strength isn't sufficient, I won't be able to protect my wives and children. This turn of events instilled an involuntary sense of urgency in Lu Chongqing. Back in the Qi refinement realm, he had a sense of urgency too. He was eager to reach foundation establishment so that he could have the power to protect himself and settle in the cultivation world. That's why he had been recklessly having children, hoping to improve his strength through his children and the system lottery. But after establishing his foundation, he had unavoidably relaxed quite a bit. Having the power to protect himself, he felt that there was no rush in everything. After all, he had enough lifespan, not lacking time, aiming for success in the long run. But this demon path event served as a wake-up call for him. Besides considering his immediate surroundings, he needed to take the bigger picture into account. If the Jiang Country cultivation realm remained stable, his current strength would be sufficient in the Qingyun region. As long as he didn't act recklessly, he would generally be safe. Chapter 498, Lost a 2 versus 1 battle, can you even play? But when a stable environment is disrupted, and matters escalate to a confrontation between nations, mere foundation establishment is insignificant. Even without escalating to war between nations. Just the Qingyun sect's call to arms for the major families to campaign against the Xiahou clan. In the process, many foundation establishment ancestors fell. If it were a war between nations, one can only imagine. Take, for instance, the Demon Path incident at the Jianghu Immortal City. Before the war even began, 3 nascent soul immortals had perished. The path of cultivation is long and arduous. Lu Chongsheng stepped out of Heaven Knowledge Tower, exhaling deeply. He felt that if the Jiang country cultivation realm were to fall into chaos, he would inevitably be swept up in the overwhelming current of fate. This time, Qingyun sect's mobilization of the major families to campaign against the Xiahou family results in numerous deaths among foundation establishment ancestors. Upon my return, revealing my foundation establishment cultivation could present an opportunity to acquire a spiritual land. Lu Chongsheng paused, a sudden thought occurring to him. Previously, his plan involved using Xiao Xiye's connections to participate in the 100 Arts Conference and enter Qingyun sect, thus securing a spiritual vein-blessed land. But now, in the war where Qingyun sect campaigned against the Xiahou clan, many foundation establishment ancestors from various families perished. If some of these families were like Qingzhou Mountain with only one foundation establishment ancestor holding the fort, they might be facing a familial crisis. They had no choice but to perform a desperate act, like cutting off an arm to save the body, by giving up their spiritual land. Otherwise, they would only attract disaster unnecessarily. And he could take advantage of this situation to choose a suitable spirit vein for himself. After all, with Ling Zixiao, the array master, at his side, the only thing his family lacked now was a spiritual land. If he continued to rely on the approach through Xiao Xiye, it would probably take several more years. It's time to return. Lu Chongsheng let out a sigh and put away the intelligence jade slip. He was ready to call on Ling Zixiao and depart straight for Qingzhou Mountain. He arrived at the rented courtyard. Where is she? Lu Chongsheng, finding Ling Zixiao was not in the courtyard, was somewhat surprised. 2 days ago, Ling Zixiao's formation shop had been sold. In a place like Jianghu Immortal City, saying that a shop was hard to come by was no exaggeration. Therefore, the transfer and sale of the shop attracted countless families and powers vying to buy it. And Ling Zixiao's rationale for selling the shop was straightforward. She didn't have much time left and was no longer struggling against it. Planning to use her remaining time to travel and see if she could find an opportunity. Not many would doubt such a story. Because for these 3 years, due to being an array master with the dragon roar physique, Ling Zixiao held no small fame in Jianghu Immortal City. Many knew that this array master's life was nearing its end. He took out a sensing talisman to check Ling Zixiao's whereabouts. Treasure Elixir Pavilion? Lu Chongsheng, through the yin-yang sensing talisman, sensed Ling Zixiao was in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. This left him somewhat astonished. Why would Ling Zixiao be in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion? He thought for a moment and headed towards the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. However, before he could get there, Ling Zixiao, dressed in a blue gown with a graceful demeanor and elegant temperament, had already come over. He sensed Ling Zixiao's situation through the yin-yang sensing talisman. Similarly, Ling Zixiao's yin-yang sensing talisman could sense his location. Lu Lang, do you intend to leave now? Ling Zixiao looked towards Lu Chongsheng and asked. Previously, Lu Chongsheng had told her that as soon as the information about Li Duangshuan's decisive battle was out from Heaven Knowledge Tower, he was ready to leave Jianghu Immortal City. Yes, do you need to prepare anything else? Lu Chongsheng nodded. This servant is already prepared and can leave at any time. Ling Zixiao said with a slight smile. All right, then let's set off. Lu Chongsheng nodded. Immediately after, the two of them left Jiuxiao Immortal City, commanding the spirit boat as they flew towards Qingzhou Mountain. Chapter 499, 99 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. _1 Zi Shao, did you have any business at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion earlier? Aboard the spirit boat, Lu Chongsheng asked Ling Zixiao. I saw that Lord Husband had quite a fateful encounter with the two young ladies. Considering that we are now departing, and the sisters will be left alone and helpless in Immortal City, it's quite pitiable, so I introduced them to a few good friends to get acquainted. That way, they can seek help if anything arises in the future. Ling Zixiao spoke with an elegant demeanor, her voice gentle and warm. With a light smile and a trace of teasing, she said, I noticed that the two young ladies seemed quite reluctant to part with Lu Lang, probably harboring quite a bit of affection. If Lu Lang is willing, a simple invitation may be all it takes for them to wish to depart with you. Ling Zixiao's lips curled with a hint of teasing. It was but a passing acquaintance, and their attachment to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion is quite evident. So why make them leave Jiuxiao Immortal City and accompany me to such an insignificant place? Lu Chongsheng shook his head and said softly. Just as Ling Zixiao had said, if he were to invite Li Xingrua and her sister to come with him, they would certainly give it serious thought. But after considering, he chose not to do so. For one thing, extending an invitation didn't necessarily guarantee acceptance. After all, his relationship with the sisters hadn't reached such a deep level yet. And the sisters obviously had deep feelings for the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, which wouldn't be easy to cut off. Otherwise, they could have simply sold or transferred the shop during their difficult times and chosen to leave. With Li Xingruo's talent in alchemy, relying on the wealth left by her parents, she would obviously fare better without sticking to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. On the other hand, he also had to consider on what grounds he would invite them back with him. If the two agreed, how would he settle them? As concubines? As alchemy service workers? As guest elders? Thus, Lu Chongsheng thought it over and decided against it. After all, his fundamental principle was that if he brought someone home with him, he should fulfill a certain duty and responsibility. He currently had a lot to attend to. For the time being, he didn't want to allocate too much of his time and energy to this matter. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao merely smiled faintly and said no more. She looked at the surrounding scenery nonchalantly and asked, where in Qingyun region does Lu Lang reside? Qingzhou Mountain. According to the distance of our journey, it will probably take 4 or 5 months to arrive. Lu Chongsheng said aloud. On his way back, he certainly couldn't rush the entire journey. He would need to stop and rest along the way and alleviate the dragon roar of yang energy from Ling Zixiao. Qingzhou Mountain, Ling Zixiao repeated, nodding thoughtfully as she heard this. She had previously purchased information about Lu Chongsheng from Heaven Knowledge Tower. She knew that Lu Chongsheng came from the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. However, the situation she had come to understand through interacting with Lu Chongsheng did not match what Heaven Knowledge Tower had on record about him. I've had some fortunate encounters, so I tend to hide my abilities in Qingzhou Mountain. On this trip back, I will need you, Zi Shao, to keep some of my affairs a secret. Lu Chongsheng spoke, not hiding any information and sharing some details about himself. In front of Ling Zixiao, he had revealed his second-tier top-level alchemy skills. Although he was prepared to show his alchemy skills upon returning to Qingzhou Mountain, he couldn't possibly reveal everything at once. It required a systematic and gradual process. Please rest assured, Lord Husband, Ling Zixiao responded after hearing this, her face showcasing an elegant, gentle smile. She knew the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower was not incorrect. It was just that Lu Chongsheng had been concealing his skills deeply. This made her inwardly marvel at the extent of his concealment. According to the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower, Lu Chongsheng was not yet 40. At that age, not only had he broken through to foundation establishment, he had also elevated both alchemy and talisman making to the second rank. This was astonishing. She, with her innate talent for the formation path and under the tutelage of a master, was able to reach her current level. Yet, according to the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower, Lu Chongsheng had been rejected during an immortal sect's assessment at Qingyun's sect and had become a son-in-law taken into the Lu family. This indicated that Lu Changsheng's spiritual root talent must be rather ordinary. And as a son-in-law taken into the Lu family, even if he was exceptionally talented in the talisman path and alchemy, without a prominent teacher's guidance, it would be very difficult to achieve such accomplishments. Besides, managing to succeed in talisman crafting, alchemy, and cultivation simultaneously was extraordinary. Without contemplating too deeply on this matter, she continued to chat leisurely with Lu Chongsheng. Talking about her own experiences and past helped foster an emotional bond between them. After they had been casually talking for a long time, Lu Changsheng's brows suddenly furrowed. Lu Lang, what's wrong? Ling Zixiao asked, noticing the change in his expression. It seems that we have been targeted since leaving Immortal City, said Lu Chongsheng, his brows relaxing into a wry smile. Thanks to the Purple Mansion elixir, his divine sense had already progressed to the late Foundation establishment stage. Just now, he had sensed a breath of aura moving swiftly in their direction, yet maintaining a certain distance from his spirit boat. Having experienced several robber cultivator incidents in the past, Lu Chongsheng immediately surmised that the person was probably targeting him and Ling Zixiao. Thinking of attacking once they were a certain distance away from Immortal City. Targeted? Ling Zixiao briefly paused, surprised at his remark. Although her physical condition was extremely weak due to the dragon roar physique, and she had only 1/10 of her mana, her divine sense was unimpaired. Moreover, having cultivated a divine consciousness technique and taken special elixirs for this aspect, her divine sense was much stronger than her peers, comparable to that of someone at the middle stage of Foundation establishment. Yet she hadn't noticed any pursuit. However, since Lu Chongsheng had mentioned it, she naturally didn't doubt him. After all, having sold her shop and leaving Jiuxiao Immortal City, it made sense if someone was covertly watching her, perhaps intending to kill for loot. Chapter 500, The 99 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. Right away, Ling Zixiao pulled out a set of formation tools from her storage bag and said, Lu Lang, the celestial canopy formation can conceal one's shape and isolate the breath, so that even a Foundation establishment cultivator would find it difficult to detect. You should increase the distance now, find a place to land, and we can use formations to hide. Ling Zixiao quickly instructed. As an array master, she naturally had her means. She had prepared several sets of formation tools for self-defense. All right. Upon hearing this, Lu Chongsheng nodded. He controlled the nucleus of the spirit boat, increasing its speed to the fastest, leaving a trail of light across the sky. With more than 300 second-rank spirit talismans, he had no fear of this kind of ambush. But he was currently accompanied by Ling Zixiao. Although Ling Zixiao was a Foundation establishment cultivator, due to her physical weakness, she was even less capable than an average Qi refinement peak cultivator. So, his plan was to let Ling Zixiao use formations to hide and protect herself. As for himself, since these people dared to pursue them, he naturally wouldn't be polite. This trip to Jiuxiao Immortal City had cost him quite a lot of spirit stones. After returning to Qingzhou Mountain, purchasing spirit land would be no small expenditure either. Now that people were offering their wealth on a silver platter, he naturally would not hold back. It wasn't long before, the spirit boat landed on a mountain peak. Zishao, after you set up the formation, set up a defensive array for yourself as well, said Lu Chongsheng as he put away the spirit boat. Lu Lang, are you planning to? Hearing such words and seeing the calm and indifferent expression on Lu Changsheng's face, Ling Zixiao immediately sensed his intention and asked. Yes, since they want to play the role of robber cultivators, they must be prepared to pay the price, replied Lu Chongsheng with a light laugh and an indifferent expression. Ling Zixiao confirmed it, feeling surprised in her heart. She had been in Jiuxiao Immortal City for so long and experienced many things. She knew very well that those who dared to act as robber cultivators were often not simple in strength, especially those who lurked in the shadows and continuously pursued their quarry. They generally had great confidence. After all, robber cultivators sought wealth through their actions, and if they weren't certain, they wouldn't take the risk. But the fact that Lu Chongqing dared to confront them head-on upon realizing that robber cultivators were tracking them in secret, intending to eliminate them, was simply astonishing. Although she didn't know the specifics of Lu Changsheng's strength, she assumed he was at most in the middle stage of Foundation establishment. One reason was his age, and the other was that Lu Chongqing had revealed the cultivation level of the Foundation establishment middle stage in front of her. But considering that Lu Chongqing was aware of being tracked and dared to act this way, Ling Zixiao did not try to dissuade him further. She nodded and said, "Since you are confident, Lu Lang, I will first set up a small inverted 5 elements formation to ensure my safety. Later, I will also deploy a small Azura killing formation. You can lead them into the array when the time comes," Ling Zixiao added quickly. In the meantime, a set of formation tools appeared. She moved her hands in a magical gesture, raising a number of array flags into the air and letting them fly out. Then she took out several spirit stones and activated the array plate, setting up the formation not too far away. "Zi Shao, be careful not to hurt yourself." "I'm confident and don't need to do this," Lu Chongqing said. He could see that Ling Zixiao wanted to contribute, to prevent him from losing, but in his opinion, unless the robber cultivators pursuing them were nascent soul immortals, he was almost certain of victory without the need for formations. However, if they were nascent soul immortals, they wouldn't be detected by him at all. Therefore, these robber cultivators were at most at the Foundation establishment level. "My lord, I understand," replied Ling Zixiao with a faint smile on her somewhat pale face upon hearing Lu Changsheng's words. Her hands continued to move in the magical gesture, quickly setting up a simplified version of the inverted 5 elements formation. The layout of a formation can be simplified based on the number of flagpoles, reducing the area it covers. With limited time, Ling Zixiao simply used the formation to protect herself, so it was rather basic, covering only a 9-yard radius. After setting up the inverted 5 elements formation, Ling Zixiao entered the area of the formation. She manipulated the array plate, causing herself and the formation to disappear from Lu Changsheng's sight. "So this is the simplified inverted 5 elements formation? It is indeed extraordinary," Lu Chongqing murmured as he watched Ling Zixiao vanish. Had he not watched Ling Zixiao disappear in front of him, and his divine sense been as sharp as that of a late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator, he might have struggled to detect Ling Zixiao's presence. Moreover, the inverted 5 elements formation also had a confusing effect. Even if he detected Ling Zixiao's breath, it might not necessarily indicate her actual position. "When I establish my family, I will use a complete version of the inverted 5 elements formation for the interior and a different set of formations for the exterior," Lu Chongqing thought to himself. Shortly after, he saw movement within the formation. A number of small flags flew out, landing at some distance away. He knew Ling Zixiao was setting up another killing array. "Zi Shao, they are about to arrive," Lu Chongqing said as he sensed the presence of someone approaching from afar. "That's just perfect," Ling Zixiao replied immediately through sound transmission. She moved the array plate to solidify the small Azura killing formation in the distance. Due to the limited time, this small Azura killing formation only covered a 9-yard radius, effectively serving as a small-scale trap. "Lu Lang, be careful. If you can't overcome them, draw the enemy into the killing array. My inverted 5 elements formation can also share some of the pressure," Ling Zixiao communicated through sound transmission. "Don't worry," Lu Chongqing assured, looking up slightly at the distant sky. Before long, a small flying boat appeared from afar. 5? Lu Chongqing raised his eyebrows when he saw 5 figures standing on the flying boat. He had previously sensed only 4 presences and thought there were only 4 people. Seeing the number of people on the flying boat, he realized one had concealed their presence, eluding his detection. Chapter 501, The 99 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. 3 at the Foundation establishment early stage, 1 at the middle stage, and 1 at the late stage? Lu Changsheng's divine sense examined the cultivation levels of the 5 people. Except for one of them whose cultivation aura was hidden, making it impossible for him to determine. For the other 4, he discerned their cultivation strength at a glance. 5 Foundation establishment robber cultivators. Ling Zixiao, within the inverted 5 elements formation, was startled when she saw the spirit boat appear in the firmament with figures aboard. She didn't dare to use her divine sense to investigate these people. But without thinking, she knew that those daring to be robber cultivators and pursuing her and Lu Changsheng must certainly be at the Foundation establishment cultivation level. Could it be that fellow Daoists are looking for Yi? Lu Changsheng, draped in a blue robe with his hands clasped behind his back, spoke calmly to the firmament. Fellow Daoist, greetings. Our group is here to find Master Ling for some business matters to discuss with her. May I ask where Master Ling is? The luminescence of the spirit boat flashed, crossing a large distance to hang above the mountaintop. The one leading them, whose cultivation strength Lu Changsheng couldn't discern, was a middle-aged man with a purple face exuding a natural aura of authority. He looked towards Lu Changsheng, then his divine sense searched in all directions, trying to locate Ling Zixiao. Through tracking methods, he could vaguely sense that Ling Zixiao's aura was in this vicinity. Oh. There are matters to discuss with Master Ling. Lu Changsheng raised an eyebrow upon hearing this. He suspected that they might have harbored ill intentions towards Ling Zixiao due to her selling her shop and leaving Jianghu Immortal City. Although Ling Zixiao typically spent most of what she had on preserving her own life, as an array master, the wealth she had accumulated was still a huge sum for an average Foundation establishment cultivator. Moreover, she had sold all her possessions like shops and courtyards. Master Ling had some matters to attend to and has parted ways with me. Whatever business fellow Daoists have, you can tell me, Lu Changsheng spoke with equanimity. However, before he could finish speaking, he waved his hands. From within his sleeves, hundreds of talismans streamed out, arranging themselves in mid-air, and swiftly surrounded the 5 people on the spirit boat. Under normal circumstances, he would not need to resort to a talisman formation. But since there were not only 5 of them but also a likely Foundation establishment late-stage cultivator among them, Lu Changsheng did not hold back, thinking to use the talisman formation for a quick resolution. So many talismans, be careful. Is this a talisman formation? Who exactly are you? Fellow Daoist, there's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. We really did come to find Master Ling for business. Seeing this display of talismans, they were all shocked and shouted. They could clearly feel that among these hundreds of talismans, there were dozens exuding the aura of second rank. Without a word, dozens of second-rank spirit talismans and hundreds of first-rank spirit talismans were summoned. This was not something they could withstand with mere wealth. Moreover, the talismans arranged by Lu Changsheng seemed like a legendary talisman formation. Thus, faced with such a formation, they instantly abandoned any thoughts of robbery. The 9-9 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. Lu Changsheng paid no heed to the words of the 5, his mind moved. 1 second-rank Supreme Talisman, 9 second-rank Superior Grade Talismans, 18 second-rank Middle-Grade Talismans, and 36 second-rank Low-Grade Talismans. Plus 108 first-rank Middle, Superior, and Supreme Grade Talismans were activated all together. These talismans, connected by their aura, aided by the 5 elements of wind and fire, and accompanied by rolling thunder, arranged in all directions, obscuring a part of the sky, enshrouding the 5 people on the spirit boat. Break for me. Upon the spirit boat, a middle-aged man in his 30s or 40s with a gaunt face immediately took out a pair of spiritual artifact scissors, attempting to break through the heavy encirclement of the talisman formation before it could fully activate its power. However, the moment the talisman formation was complete, fierce winds blew, fiery flames surged, thunder rumbled mightily, and directly the spiritual artifact scissors let out a mournful cry. Kill! Lu Changsheng formed seals with his hands, directly driving the great formation, causing the spiritual mechanisms of these talismans to surge and begin bombarding. Not good, second brother, third brother, fifth brother. The leading purple-faced man also recognized the might of this talisman formation. Making hand seals, spiritual light swelled around him, forming a layer of mana shield, while also summoning a thick black column. The black column flickered with a dim light, connected to the spirit boat, forming a vigorous shield of aura. Upon hearing his voice, the other 3 people on the spirit boat also took action, each summoning their magic artifacts. But under the assault of the Wind Fire Thunder Talisman array, the purple-faced man's shield of aura cracked in an instant, threatening to shatter. The purple-faced man hurriedly shouted, "Fellow Daoist has misunderstood, I am here to find Master Ling for a true matter of business." Ha ha. Lu Changsheng's lips curled upwards, letting out a cold laugh. Ling Zixiao was not far away. If he knew these people, he would have already sent a message to himself. This person obviously thought that Ling Zixiao was not here and wanted to use such words to confuse him. He had a clear understanding in his heart, and with his hands forming seals, he exerted himself to the fullest to operate the Wind Fire Thunder Talisman array. Using the first-grade talisman's wind and fire to boost the power, he unleashed the extreme potency of the second-rank talisman's thunder and fire. Boom boom boom, the true might of the talisman array began to erupt, with thunderous flames surging violently, bombarding fiercely, and in a flash, the shield of aura around the black column was shattered. However, the other 4 people had already summoned a red parasol and a small blue flag, forming protective barriers layer by layer to block the torrential assault of the talisman array. Yet, faced with such an attack from the talisman array, they struggled to defend. Scoundrel, this is too much. The purple-faced man's expression turned to rage, and he ground his teeth, pulling out a talisman from his storage bag. This talisman was more substantial and slightly larger than a regular one. In the next moment, a lifelike bronze spear surged on the talisman, emitting a terrifying aura that made Foundation establishment cultivators shudder in fear. A talisman treasure. Lu Chongsheng immediately recognized upon seeing the talisman, that it was indeed a talisman treasure. It was only befitting for a cultivator at the peak of the Foundation establishment stage to actually possess such a talisman treasure for protection. Moreover, the treasure seemed to be of a superior grade, not any worse than the golden light brick talisman treasure he had initially. The adversary, with his late-stage Foundation establishment cultivation fully activating the talisman treasure, was about to unleash its astonishing power. Boom! In an instant, the talisman treasure was activated, transforming into a bronze spear that tore through a corner of the Wind Fire Thunder Talisman array, aiming to strike at Lu Chongsheng. He knew that if he allowed the talisman array to continue bombarding them, the 5 of them could only sit and wait for death. He must suppress Lu Chongsheng with the swiftness of thunder. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, from the sleeves of Lu Chongsheng, dozens of talismans flew out immediately. Several of them transformed into golden and blue shields of aura, enveloping him for protection. The rest, neatly arranged, flew into the Wind Fire Thunder Talisman array, repairing the gaps and allowing the formidable power to continue its tumultuous assault. At the same time, a blue talisman appeared in Lu Changsheng's hand. It was a talisman treasure he had once acquired from Mang Yibai. Though this talisman treasure was lower grade and had average power, it could be used for offense, defense, and capturing enemies, making it quite effective. The next moment, the blue talisman treasure was activated by his mana. It transformed into a several-inch-long, water-shimmering blue jade ruler. The jade ruler burst forth with dazzling light in the sky, doubling once, then again, and once more, multiplying into numerous rulers, striking across at the bronze spear. Nevertheless, under the onslaught of the bronze spear, the jade rulers kept shattering. Boom boom boom. Meanwhile, the 5 people within the array, amidst the bombarding chaos, were evidently struggling to hold on. The red parasol and the blue flag were scorched black under the relentless assault of the Wind Fire Thunder, causing Lu Chongsheng to wince at the sight. After all, that was money. Burst. Seeing that the few were continuously summoning magic artifacts, talismans, and treasures to resist the talisman array, Lu Changsheng promptly formed seals with his hands and uttered an indifferent syllable to detonate the array. As the syllable fell, in that very moment, all the talisman's energies merged together, emanating an extremely violent mana fluctuation. And then, boom! An explosive storm of thunderous fire erupted like a mushroom cloud in the sky, and an earth-shattering blast thundered forth. Chapter 502, Ling Xixiao's Shock, Bountiful Gains. _1 Boom, 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 a mushroom cloud-like tempest of thunder and lightning continuously exploded, its might echoing through heaven and earth, forming ripples that swept in all directions. In an instant, the temperature of the sky drastically increased, filled with a scorching and fierce magic aura. The entire mountaintop also shook under this terrifying force, fissures appearing everywhere, scaring the flying birds and running beasts into a state of trembling fear. Not far away, the inverted five elements formation became visible under the residual wave of the attack. It transformed into a barrier of five elements luminance, blocking the successive waves of residual force. Within the formation, Ling Xixiao, with her elegant appearance, gazed at the shocking scene before her, lips slightly parted, eyes filled with shock and disbelief. She knew that since Lu Changsheng dared to face a robber cultivator, he must have had some confidence. But she had never imagined that Lu Changsheng's combat power would be so terrifying. He had conjured up hundreds of talismans to form a talisman formation and, with the ferocity of thunder, had suppressed and killed 5 robber cultivators. In the process, the robber cultivators tried to break the formation and kill Lu Changsheng with their talisman treasures. But they were easily neutralized by Lu Changsheng with his talismans and talisman treasures. This level of combat power, these methods, were simply astonishing. Especially Lu Changsheng's technique of creating formations with talismans left Ling Xixiao at a loss for words. She also had some understanding of talisman formations and standing formations with talismans. She knew that this kind of technique was from a rare inheritance and that the threshold for cultivation was extremely high. One had to be versed in both the talisman path and the formation path. Lu Changsheng had just conjured up hundreds of talismans, instantly forming a formation, clearly mastering this talisman formation to perfection and proficient in the formation path. Second rank top quality alchemy. Second rank top quality talisman making. And now, another skill in talisman formations and formation path. How can one person simultaneously master alchemy, talisman making, and formation path? Ling Xixiao stared at the tall and slender figure of Lu Changsheng in a green robe, lost in thought. Alchemy, talisman making, and formation path all required immense amounts of time and energy. Countless cultivators spend their entire lives without achieving anything significant. Yet Lu Changsheng had accomplishments in all 3 areas at his age, an extraordinary feat indeed. She had spent many years in Jianghu Immortal City and had never seen such a monstrous and abnormal person. No, she had not even heard of one. Through the days they had spent together, she thought she had gained some understanding of Lu Changsheng. But at this moment, Lu Changsheng's image in her mind became mysterious once more. It seems the power of this talisman formation is even greater than I had imagined. Once I gain the initiative and set up the talisman formation, not to mention those at the late stage of foundation establishment, even a false core immortal would perish within it. Still, trying to trap a false core immortal with this talisman formation might be a little tricky. However, once I refine the 99 profound truth strategy into a talisman artifact, with its help in setting up formations and sealing heaven and earth, even a false core immortal won't be able to break the talisman formation easily and will only perish amidst the relentless bombardment of the talismans. On the cliff, Lu Changsheng looked at the talisman formation in the sky, whose power was gradually dissipating, and saw that the 5 robber cultivators within had their life force extinguished, revealing a look of satisfaction in his eyes. This was his first time using a talisman formation. As for the power and effectiveness of the talisman formation, he was quite satisfied. The only issue was that it was incredibly expensive. He had only taken simple action. He had used over 80 second-rank talismans and more than 100 first-grade talismans. If these talismans were to be converted into spirit stones according to the market price, they would amount to approximately 40 to 50,000 spirit stones. An exaggerated sum indeed. Hope it nets me some profit. Lu Chongsheng exhaled lightly. With a gesture of his magic hand, he took the 2 talisman treasures in front of him, the spirit boat that had been battered and become scrap within the talisman formation, along with 5 charred and broken corpses, magic artifacts, spiritual artifacts, and storage bags, all into his possession. He then looked towards Ling Zixiao not far away and called out, "Zixiao, are you all right?" While speaking, he swept his sleeve to subdue the remaining waves of the talisman formation. Lu Lang, fine. Ling Zixiao came back to her senses, watching Lu Changsheng's peerlessly handsome face, and gently shook her head. She couldn't fathom how there could be such a wondrous man in the world. With dazzling good looks that captivated the heart at a glance, and in other aspects, he was excellent beyond comprehension. Zixiao, as you know, I am also a talisman master, and I understand a little about making talismans, so I usually prepare some talismans to carry with me, in case of any dangerous accidents. Lu Chongsheng saw the usually composed and graceful Ling Zixiao looking so astonished and smiled. He had used the talisman formation to make a quick decision. On one hand, among the 5, the leader was at the late stage of foundation establishment. If he didn't use the talisman formation, facing all 5 at once would have been difficult to secure a complete kill. On the other hand, he also wanted to show off a bit in front of Ling Zixiao. It wasn't to show off per se. It was simply to tell Ling Zixiao through this action that he wasn't as simple as she had seen, that he was much more powerful than she imagined. By following him, aside from treating and resolving the dragon roar physique, there would be other benefits as well. My lady understands, of course, though I didn't expect that you, my lord, would have such divine abilities. I was worried for a moment. Ling Zixiao's expression returned to being dignified and elegant, and she spoke with a light smile. I gained this talisman formation inheritance by chance. With your high perception and proficiency in the art of formations, Zixiao, you might also be able to comprehend it. If you're interested, I can teach you afterward, Lu Chongsheng said with a light laugh. He didn't mind passing on his cultivation techniques to those around him. Ling Zixiao was now his Dao companion, and they were in a partnership. If her strength increased, it would also be beneficial to him. Chapter 503, Ling Zixiao's Shock, Bountiful Gains. Moreover, the talisman formation involves the art of formations. Although this type of formation is different from ordinary ones, there might still be benefits for Ling Zixiao, possibly inspiring new insights. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao's heart jolted. She had not anticipated that Lu Chongsheng would casually offer to teach her such a rare mystical inheritance. One must realize that, in the cultivation world, the transmission of cultivation techniques and skills is exceedingly precious. They are fundamental for the survival of an individual or a power. Apart from those who are extremely close, it is rare for anyone to pass on their cultivation techniques and skills to another. Yet Lu Chongsheng was now offering so readily, which touched her deeply. Her lips parted slightly, her eyes moist with emotion. She smiled and said with a curtsy, "Your concubine is most grateful to you, Lu Lang. If we are to be Dao companions, we should naturally support each other and cultivate the great Dao together." Lu Chongsheng immediately steadied Ling Zixiao, his expression earnest as he spoke. "The path to immortality is cold and solitary, the great Dao hard to seek. With you by my side, I am fortunate." Ling Zixiao responded with a smile. "Zixiao, pack up the formations and let's continue on our way," Lu Chongsheng said with a smile, squeezing Ling Zixiao's hand gently, speaking in a warm tone. "All right, husband, just a moment." Ling Zixiao nodded, formed a gesture with her hands, and successively withdrew the inverted 5 elements formation and the minor Azura slaughter formation. "Let's go." Seeing Ling Zixiao tidy up the formations, Lu Chongsheng released the spirit boat, and along with Ling Zixiao, they continued on their journey. During the journey, it crossed his mind that the 5 robber cultivators probably targeted Ling Zixiao, so he used his divine sense to inspect her. However, he did not find any traces of divine sense marking. Immediately afterward, he took out a second-rank top-grade purification talisman and used it on Ling Zixiao. But even when the purification talisman was applied to Ling Zixiao's body, it did not reveal any tracking marks. Strange? Could it be they were using some kind of secret technique to track her? Lu Changsheng's brow lifted as he pondered inwardly. He was puzzled as to how these 5 robber cultivators had managed to locate and track Ling Zixiao. Lu Lang. Seeing Lu Changsheng conducting these inspections and finding no clues on how she was tracked, Ling Zixiao immediately started to examine her own storage bag. She checked to see if any item, or perhaps a spirit stone, had been secretly marked by someone. It might have been some secret technique, and now that they are dead, naturally there's nothing to worry about. Lu Changsheng spoke out. He had some understanding of these tracking methods, knowing that aside from divine sense marking, there were many other secret techniques to track people. It was plausible for those 5 individuals, being Foundation establishment cultivators, to know such techniques. Shortly after, he took out the spoils of war gathered from the 5 people. He passed 3 storage magic artifacts to Ling Zixiao, asking her to help clear them out. Lu Changsheng first took the bronze spear charm held by the man with the purple face into his hands to inspect. It was apparent that this charm had dulled, likely having been used a few times already. He estimated that after one more full-force usage, it would be completely exhausted. Zixiao, this charm is quite powerful, you can keep it for self-defense. Lu Changsheng handed the bronze spear charm to Ling Zixiao. He currently had sufficient means of attack. The charm was of little significance to him. Thank you, Lu Lang, but I have a defense charm. I don't need this one. Ling Zixiao was touched to see Lu Changsheng casually offering this valuable charm to her. Alright. If you see anything you can use in the storage bag, just take it without hesitation. Lu Changsheng did not insist upon hearing this and returned the charm to his storage bag, planning to give it to Lu Miaoge when he returned. The blue jade ruler was a charm taken from Meng Yibai, which could bring trouble, so it wasn't something he wanted to give away. However, the bronze spear charm was of no concern. Okay. Ling Zixiao nodded with a smile, graceful and dignified. What's this, a treasure-seeking mouse? Lu Changsheng began to go through the spoils of war, his divine sense noticing a spiritual pet bag, causing his brow to lift. He had an idea of how the 5 robber cultivators had managed to track down Ling Zixiao. Inside this spiritual pet bag was a large golden mouse. It somewhat resembled the earth spirit mouse he had acquired from Meng Yibai. Back then, Meng Yibai had used the earth spirit mouse to track him down. He hadn't expected to come across another treasure-seeking mouse today. This is not an earth-grade bloodline earth spirit mouse. It must be a high-rank bloodline-seeking spirit mouse. Lu Changsheng examined the golden treasure-seeking mouse in the spiritual pet bag. Because of the earth spirit mouse, he had taken the time to learn about a few differences between various treasure-seeking mice. He could roughly identify them. However, this seeking spirit mouse was quite large, almost the size of a newborn baby, a second-rank demon beast. Lu Changsheng found this most pleasing. Not counting the Mount Sumra Tree King, he had yet to acquire a second-rank spiritual pet, Zixiao. This group of robber cultivators probably tracked you with this thing. Lu Changsheng found the beast control token for the treasure-seeking mouse, then released it from the spiritual pet bag. Is this a treasure-seeking mouse? Ling Zixiao examined the infant-sized golden mouse before her. Indeed, it's likely a second-rank seeking spirit mouse. Lu Changsheng confirmed. Second-rank seeking spirit mouse. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao's elegant brows furrowed, her face reflecting some contemplation. What's wrong? Lu Changsheng asked, noticing her expression. I remember in Jiuxiao Immortal City, there was a Foundation establishment cultivator by the name of Purple-Robed Wanderer who possessed a second-rank seeking spirit mouse. He's quite knowledgeable about the history of the cultivation world and owns a second-rank seeking spirit mouse, so he often seeks out mysterious places and invites others to explore ancient ruins with him. Because he rarely betrays his companions, he has gained some reputation in the Immortal City. Ling Zixiao explained. A second-rank seeking spirit mouse isn't extremely rare, but it's certainly not common. Chapter 504, Ling Zixiao's Shock, Bountiful Gains. It's often said that you can know someone's face but not their heart. Who knows, this person could very well be that purple-robed hermit. Lu Chongsheng casually remarked upon hearing this. It wasn't that he harbored ill intentions. Having been in the cultivation world for so long, he had become all too familiar with such matters. After all, no robber cultivator would go around looking like a fierce and malevolent spirit all the time. It's possible they even cultivate a good reputation and goodwill, to facilitate their clandestine robber cultivator activities. It's very possible because, although this purple-robed hermit is seldom known for betraying his companions, his frequent exploration of secret realms has still led to many cultivators facing dangers. Yet, every time he manages to return from the brink of disaster, even making modest gains that others envy, Ling Zixiao added with a slight smile. The two chatted idly while sorting through the storage bags. After a while, they had accounted for the belongings of the 5 robber cultivators, including their storage bags and magic artifacts. Among them were 219 middle-grade spirit stones and 48,375 lower-grade spirit stones. 1 top-tier spiritual artifact, 2 high-tier spiritual artifacts, 2 middle-grade spiritual artifacts, 5 low-tier spiritual artifacts, and 7 top-tier magic artifacts. However, half of these spiritual and magic artifacts had sustained severe damage. The most precious top-tier spiritual artifact was also somewhat damaged, which meant its value would be greatly reduced if sold. Aside from that, there were over 20 bottles of second-rank spirit pills, 16 second-rank spirit talismans, and dozens of other second-rank spiritual medicines, spiritual woods, or stones, and other treasures, as well as 3 cultivation techniques. Purple True Solar Scripture, looks like this chap is indeed the purple-robed true immortal, Ling Zixiao declared, spotting the exquisite-level cultivation method among the 3 techniques. She guessed that the purple-faced man leading the robber cultivators was most likely the purple-robed hermit. However, if this man is really a robber cultivator, to have amassed only this much wealth after lurking in Jianghu Immortal City for so many years, he's quite poor, Lu Chongsheng clicked his tongue and said. It's actually not a small amount. These spirit stones, spiritual artifacts, and spiritual materials, plus the talisman treasures and the seeking spirit mouse, it all adds up to almost 170,000 to 180,000 spirit stones, Ling Zixiao replied, unsure whether to comment on Lu Changsheng's wealth or to say something else. After all, for most Foundation establishment cultivators, their entire net worth would be around 20 or 30,000 spirit stones. The spoils from these 5 robber cultivators, even after accounting for the damaged spiritual artifacts, amounted to a considerable wealth of 170,000 to 180,000 spirit stones. That's true, Lu Chongsheng nodded slightly. He felt he had indeed been too lavish with his spending. His idea of consumption had far surpassed that of the Foundation establishment stage. Moreover, he hadn't included the bronze spear and the seeking spirit mouse in his tally of gains earlier. Considering the men had only that many spirit stones, he thought their wealth quite ordinary. After all, he had just spent 40 to 50,000 spirit stones on a talisman formation. With these spirit stones, I should have almost enough money to purchase a spiritual land when I get back, Lu Chongsheng mused, feeling somewhat relieved. After allowing Ling Zixiao to pick a few items, he carefully sorted the categorized spoils into his own storage bag. 7 days into their journey, as night fell, Lu Chongsheng spotted a secular city in the distance. He immediately directed the spirit boat towards the city, taking Ling Zixiao with him to rest and refine the dragon roar of yang energy within her body. Meanwhile, at the Lu family of Jianghu Mountain, under the cover of night, Lu Yuanzhong and Lu Yuanding donned black robes and quietly left Jianghu Mountain without a sound. Only after traveling several dozen miles away from Jianghu Mountain did they release their spirit boat. They flew rapidly toward Qingyun's sect on their spirit boat. Though Qingyun's sect had forbidden interclan strife during this period, such matters would remain unchecked as long as they were not overly excessive. Therefore, their trip to Qingyun's sect to exchange for Foundation Establishment elixirs and Foundation Establishment spirit objects had to be conducted with utmost caution. This was to avoid internal leaks within the family, which could alert others and lead to attacks on Jianghu Mountain or interception of the two men. Chapter 505, Tai Shengshui Ju. Ownership of the Foundation Establishment elixir. _1 More than a month later. Amidst the clouds and fog, a spirit boat, like a streak of light, rapidly shuttled through the sky. Lu Chongsheng, dressed in a cyan robe, stood tall on the spirit boat, looking down at the mountain ranges below that resembled a checkerboard. It must be said, such long-distance travel was extremely monotonous and tedious. If it weren't for Qingyun's sect's spiritual vessel that only came once a year, he would be eager to return and would not be willing to steer the spirit boat. He would have chosen to travel by the spiritual vessel instead. "My lord, let me take over the steering of the spirit boat while you rest for a while," said Ling Zixiao, who had been resting with her eyes closed, as she opened her clear and beautiful eyes and looked at Lu Chongsheng, her voice melodious. Although steering the spirit boat didn't consume much mental spirit or mana, traveling day and night could still be somewhat tiresome and dull. Thus, the two of them chatted to relieve boredom and took turns steering the spirit boat along the way. "All right." Lu Chongsheng nodded, handing over the control of the spirit boat to Ling Zixiao. During this break, he would draw some talismans. Facing 5 robber cultivators before, he had used up quite a few of his spirit talismans and needed to replenish them. Just as he took out his talisman brush, talisman paper, and spirit ink, ready to start drawing talismans, a current of air suddenly surged into his body, followed by the sound of a system notification. "Congratulations to the host. 15 of your children have completed the induction of qi into their bodies, stepping onto the path of immortality, obtaining the bloodline effect, 5% increased probability of having spiritual roots in offspring, and 1 lottery draw opportunity." 1 lottery draw for every 5, huh? Lu Chongsheng heard this system notification and the corners of his mouth turned up slightly, revealing a hint of a smile. Seeing his children start their cultivation one by one, with the system handing out child money as a reward, truly delighted him. "Lu Lang, what's the matter? Are you thinking of some happy event?" Ling Zixiao noticed the sudden smile on Lu Chongsheng's face and asked with a light smile. "Hee, the thought of going home naturally fills me with joy, especially since this journey has also led to you, Zixiao, becoming my Dao companion. The very thought makes me uncontrollably happy." Lu Chongsheng spoke smoothly, hiding his real emotions with a smile. Smooth talker. Upon hearing his words, Ling Zixiao smiled sweetly. After a bit of idle chat, Lu Chongsheng began to draw talismans. 5 days later, Ling Zixiao steered the spirit boat to a nearby city where they disembarked. She and Lu Chongsheng found an inn to rest and regulated the yang qi within their bodies. Afterward. "Zixiao, how is the recovery of your dragon roar origin coming along?" Lu Chongsheng, embracing Ling Zixiao, whose skin was glowing attractively with a touch of rosiness and lethargy, asked her. "At this rate, I should need about half a year more before the dragon roar origin can recover." Ling Zixiao, her exquisite hair casually sprawled, snuggled into Lu Chongsheng's arms, bit her lip gently and spoke. "Half a year," Lu Chongsheng heard this and nodded, saying, "Good. Once we get back to Jianghu Mountain and your body is almost done recovering, we can start the second phase of addressing the dragon roar physique. This way, we'll eventually be able to resolve your dragon roar physique." Lu Chongsheng said so. "Lu Lang, you always use your vital essence and lifespan to stabilize the backlash for me. which also greatly harms you, doesn't it? Ling Zixiao looked at him with eyes full of tender affection. It's no bother. As long as it can resolve your condition, Zi Xiao, it's all worth it. Besides, I've said before that I would do everything in my power to resolve your dragon roar physique. Lu Chongqing embraced his beloved and placed his chin on her hair, speaking softly. My lord, Ling Zixiao heard this, her eyes glistening. Although she didn't know how much of his lifespan Lu Chongqing had spent to save her before, she knew it must have been at a great cost. Yet, even under such circumstances, Lu Chongqing maintained this attitude, which genuinely moved her. After all, aside from the dragon roar origin, she had not contributed much to Lu Chongqing during this period. It was basically Lu Chongqing making sacrifices for her. It's nothing. We are Dao companions, after all. Lu Chongqing caressed her smooth and delicate back with his palm, speaking gently. But in his heart, he pondered how he could resolve Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique. Otherwise, even if the dragon invocation technique could replenish the dragon roar origin faster than the physique recovered, his lifespan wouldn't be able to withstand it if this continued time after time. Looking at the contented and gradually sleeping face of the woman in his arms, Lu Chongqing thought of the lottery opportunity he had earned earlier and silently invoked in his heart, "System, draw the lottery." Immediately, a light red-colored lottery wheel appeared. I wonder if he'll be lucky enough to draw an item that can suppress the backlash from the dragon roar physique. Lu Chongqing looked at the lottery wheel before him, squeezing the full and round peak, thinking to himself. With a mere thought, a streak of golden light appeared, spinning rapidly on the wheel. Ding! Congratulations to the host for acquiring the cultivation technique, Tai Shengshui Ju. The reward has been sent to the system space. The host can check it at any time. An image of a crystal-clear jade scroll appeared, together with the system notification. Tai Shengshui Ju. Lu Chongqing looked at this cultivation technique, his brow slightly furrowed. From its name, this should be a qi refinement cultivation technique. But at this point, he was no longer in need of such techniques. He had no need for this kind of cultivation technique. What he really wanted was a mental cultivation technique. Or something like the rare inheritance cultivation techniques for pills, formations, talismans, and tools, such as the 99 mystical talisman scripture. However, since he had already drawn it, Lu Chongqing looked towards the system space. Cultivation technique, Tai Shengshui Ju, grade, orthodox level, description, Tai generates water that benefits all things, complements Tai as it forms heaven. Heaven and earth, yin and yang complement each other, in an endless cycle. This is the mother of all things. This technique is so profound? Lu Chongqing stared at the description and introduction of the Tai Shengshui Ju, momentarily bemused. He couldn't quite grasp the effects of this technique, or the significance of it being an orthodox-level cultivation technique. Chapter 506, Tai Shengshui Ju. Ownership of the Foundation Establishment Elixir. System, inheritance. He didn't ponder too much about it, his mental spirit stirring slightly as he directly used the Tai Shengshui Ju. Immediately, the method of cultivating the Tai Shengshui Ju, related content, and all key points surged into his mind like a sudden enlightenment. Hiss, Tai Shengshui Ju, what a profound Tai Shengshui Ju. After a long while, Lu Chongqing opened his eyes, revealing a look of surprise and joy. After fully comprehending the Tai Shengshui Ju through the system's inheritance, Lu Chongqing felt a surge of delight in his heart. One could only say it was truly worthy of being an orthodox-level cultivation technique. Furthermore, this cultivation technique came in a most marvelous way. This Tai Shengshui Ju is divided into Water of Virtue technique and Tai Seed Way Art, one main and one auxiliary, two cultivation techniques. To cultivate the Water of Virtue technique, one first needs a water attribute spiritual root, and a temperament as calm as water. Secondly, a foundation establishment cultivator is required to cultivate the Tai Seed Way Art. Condense one's spirit, vital energy, and origin source of the Dao foundation to refine a Tai Dao seed. Afterward, plant this Tai Dao seed within oneself, and with the Tai Dao seed as the foundation, commence the cultivation of the water of virtue technique. Goodness resembles water, it benefits all things without contention. This cultivation technique is not adept at offensive strikes but leans towards a supportive nature. Its mana is gentle, its chi mighty and profound, vast and thick, stretching endlessly. However, based on the Tai Dao seed condensed by the seed path cultivator, the mana will exhibit different characteristics and effects in terms of power. Simply put, the more powerful the seed path cultivator, the deeper the foundation, the more formidable the condensed Tai Dao seed, the more mighty this water of virtue technique will be. However, the flaw is that if the cultivator of the Tai seed way art dies, then the Tai Dao seed will shatter. From that point on, the cultivator of the water of virtue technique will find it difficult to make progress and will have to start over from scratch. If it were just this, the Tai Shengshui Ju wouldn't have caused Lu Chongqing such surprise. The Tai seed way art, by condensing the Tai Dao seed, can aid another in cultivating the water of virtue technique. It can enhance their mana foundation and increase the likelihood of breaking through bottlenecks. At the same time, the water of virtue technique can also support the person who cultivates the Tai seed way art. For example, when a cultivator of the water of virtue technique breaks through the foundation establishment, their Dao foundation will take on similar characteristics to the Tai Dao seed. From then on, when both individuals concurrently operate their cultivation techniques in a yin-yang dual cultivation, they can nurture the mother essence of all things. This mother essence can temper both individuals' Dao foundations, increasing the likelihood and quality of core formation. Moreover, when the cultivator of the Tai seed way art breaks through core formation, they can reclaim the Tai Dao seed, transforming it into a top-tier core formation spiritual object, enhancing the likelihood and quality of core formation. After the cultivator of the Tai seed way art successfully breaks through core formation, they can once again plant a Dao seed for the cultivator of the water of virtue technique. Letting their foundation improve again, in turn increasing the likelihood and quality of future core formation. When the cultivator of the water of virtue technique successfully breaks through core formation, the golden core will continue to be influenced by the Tai Dao seed, taking on similar characteristics, thereby mutually enhancing the golden cores, refining them, and raising the probability of nascent soul consolidation and the quality of the nascent soul. After the nascent soul, so it goes even with divinity transformation. It can be said that this Tai Shengshui Ju is designed for two people to cultivate together, assisting each other along the way and jointly pursuing the great Tao. Sister Miaoge is just a 5th grade spiritual root. Even though she cultivated the Saturn solar sword technique, with my assistance, foundation establishment is not a problem. But to achieve core formation, it is difficult, extremely difficult, filled with countless obstacles. Now with this Tai Shengshui Ju, if I cultivate the Tai seed way art and plant a Tai Dao seed for her, allowing her to cultivate the water of virtue technique, then there's hope for her to achieve core formation in the future. Upon seeing this cultivation technique, Lu Chongqing immediately thought of Lu Miaoge. This cultivation technique, with one main and one auxiliary, complements each other, and is a true yin-yang dual cultivation technique. It can allow the more advanced practitioner to lift the other, thus joining hands in cultivating the great Tao. With the system by his side, he is full of hope for his own future. He is confident that he can achieve core formation, consolidate a nascent soul, and undergo divinity transformation. Currently, his condensed yin-yang 5 elements foundation base is a top-notch perfect foundation base, with an immensely robust foundation. Such a foundation base, when used to refine the Tai Dao seed, will greatly benefit and be extremely advantageous for the cultivator of the water of virtue technique. In the future, as he progresses further and breaks through core formation, he is confident he can condense the most supreme immortal golden core. At that time, by planting a new Tai Dao seed for Lu Miaoge, her chances of breaking through foundation establishment to core formation will be significantly increased. Once he achieves nascent soul, it's not impossible for Lu Miaoge to have hopes of consolidating a nascent soul. Moreover, this Water of Virtue technique, like the 7 Luminaries' Great Freedom Sword scripture, each level possesses its own unique effect. The characteristic of the first level is to use mana to condense Tai True Water. This water has the effects of refining the body, nourishing the meridians, healing hidden injuries, and condensing mana. This made Lu Chongsheng immediately think of Ling Zixiao. If Lu Miaoge can cultivate the Water of Virtue technique, she could use Tai True Water to treat Ling Zixiao's injuries, rejuvenating his withered meridians and dantian. As long as Ling Zixiao's meridians and dantian are restored, dealing with his dragon roar physique will be much easier for me. There's no need to worry about the backlash from the dragon roar physique. This is also one of the reasons for Lu Changsheng's delight. This cultivation technique not only solves Lu Miaoge's future path, but it also holds the promise of resolving Ling Zixiao's physical issues. Once Lu Miaoge cultivates the Water of Virtue technique and breaks through to foundation establishment, and Ling Zixiao resolves his dragon roar physique and restores his foundation establishment cultivation, by then, his Lu family will have 3 foundation establishment cultivators in place. Moreover, both women have the potential to break through to core formation in the future. At this moment, Lu Chongsheng was eager to return. Chapter 507, Tai Shengshui Ju. Ownership of the Foundation Establishment Elixir. Wanting to return early to pass on the Water of Virtue technique to Lu Miaoge and plant the Dao seed for her. Lu Miaoge's spiritual root just happens to be of the water attribute, and her disposition is also a good match. Moreover, she cultivates the Saturn Solar Sword technique, which is a direct inheritance from his 7 Luminaries' Great Freedom Sword scripture. Through the Tai Dao seed, to convert her cultivation technique into the Water of Virtue technique would be nothing short of perfect. Jianghu Mountain, Lu family. Miaoge, currently in the family, only you and Miaofeng are at the 9th level energy refinement, capable of attempting foundation establishment. Thus, the right to this foundation establishment elixir belongs to you and Miaofeng. What are your thoughts? Lu Yuanzhong looked at the young lady in front of him, clothed in plain white, with a clear and graceful demeanor, speaking in a deep voice. Lu Yuanding, standing aside, said nothing, quietly watching his daughter. There were originally 4 foundation establishment seeds in this generation of the Lu family. 1 died during the campaign against the Xiahou clan, leaving the remaining 3. However, one of them is too young and is currently at the 8th level energy refinement. Therefore, he cannot compete for the ownership of this foundation establishment elixir. In the end, it's between Lu Miaoge and Lu Miaofeng. Although Lu Miaoge's spiritual root talent is 1 grade lower than Lu Miaofeng, as a first-grade top-level talisman master, she has the potential to be a second-grade talisman master in the future. Her husband, Lu Chongsheng, is also a second-grade talisman master, having made significant contributions to the family. Therefore, wanting to fight for this foundation establishment elixir, it essentially already belongs to her. Elder, Miaofeng has a better talent than me, and moreover, the foundation establishment spirit objects prepared by the family this time are more suitable for Miaofeng, so, this foundation establishment elixir, give it to Miaofeng, Lu Miaoge said quietly, after a long silence. She knew if she wished to contend for it, this foundation establishment elixir would most likely be hers. But now that the chance for foundation establishment she had always yearned for had appeared before her eyes, hesitation crept into her heart. Because this foundation establishment elixir is too weighty. It carries the future of the Lu family. Success is the only option, failure is not tolerated. Moreover, once foundation establishment is achieved, she would become the new matriarch of the Lu family of Jianghu Mountain and would be responsible for the rise and fall of the family. If she had not married or had children, she would have had the courage to shoulder this responsibility. But now, as a wife and mother, this responsibility caused her to hesitate. Moreover, she understood in her heart that Elder Lu Yuanzhong actually favored giving the Foundation Establishment elixir to Lu Miaofeng. Because Lu Miaofeng, with his 4th grade spiritual root, was a better match for the Foundation Establishment spirit objects prepared by the family, and as a male, he aligned more with the family's interests. It was only considering her contributions to the Lu family and the contributions made by Lu Chongsheng and Lu Yuanding that he was willing to give her the choice of the Foundation Establishment elixir. Seeing his daughter refuse the Foundation Establishment elixir, Lu Yuanding sighed in his heart. As a father, he naturally hoped his daughter would accept this Foundation Establishment elixir. He knew his daughter had always been working hard to become a Foundation Establishment cultivator. This Foundation Establishment elixir might be Lu Maiage's only chance in her life, the closest she would ever get to Foundation Establishment. But as a clan cultivator, the former patriarch of the Lu family, for the sake of family interests and the bigger picture, he believed Lu Miaofeng indeed was more suitable for this Foundation Establishment elixir. Miaoge, have you thought it through? Lu Yuanzhong said to Lu Miaoge, speaking in a deep voice. For his niece, whom he had watched grow up, he knew she was very sensible and had her heart set on the great Tao. So, despite a preference for Lu Miaofeng, he was still willing to give Lu Miaoge a chance. Elder, Miaoge has made up her mind, please give the Foundation Establishment elixir to Miaofeng. Lu Miaoge, looking at Lu Yuanzhong before her with clear eyes showing resolve, nodded her head. After saying this, although her heart felt empty, it also felt a sense of relief. Phew! Upon hearing this, Lu Yuanzhong sighed deeply. He patted Lu Maiage's shoulder, saying, Miaoge, your great-uncle knows that you have been sensible since childhood, and this arrangement has been unfair to you. After this matter, the family will do its best to collect Foundation Establishment spirit objects suitable for you and also seek out a meridian-protecting elixir, Lu Yuanzhong said. Thank you, Elder, Lu Miaoge said, gently pursing her lips. Chapter 508, Nangong Mili and Meng Xiaochan _1 in a secluded cave. Meng Xiaochan, dressed in a white gown, showed an exhausted appearance on her delicate and beautiful face. She looked towards her master with a face full of worry. At this moment, Nangong Mili's face was incomparably pale, void of any color, her beautiful eyes tightly closed, lying unconscious. Yet even in her comatose state, she exuded a seductive charm that captured the soul. One glance at her was enough to stir the imagination and arouse desire, tempting one to commit a sin. There was an impulse to conquer her, to press her beneath one's body. Meng Xiaochan extended her wrist, checked her master's condition, then took out an elixir medicine and fed it into Nangong Mili's lips. She then used mana to help her refine the power of the medicine. At this moment, Nangong Mili's long and thick eyelashes fluttered slightly, and a delicate, crisp moan came from her mouth. Master, you're awake. Upon hearing this soft moan, Meng Xiaochan was jolted with excitement, her face immediately revealing a look of joy. Xiaochan. Nangong Mili's narrow phoenix eyes, like unfolding peach blossoms, slowly opened, her hazy pupils brimming with a bewitching power that made one's soul tremble. Master, how are you feeling? Meng Xiaochan asked, full of concern. Not too good. Nangong Mili weakly propped up her graceful body, gently shook her head, and asked, Xiaochan, how long have I been unconscious? Her figure was enchantingly graceful and voluptuous. Her chest was high and firm, making her clothes bulge prominently. Her slender waist could be grasped in a handful, and as her round and firm buttocks pressed against the ground, they looked quite fleshy. Below the black gauze skirt, a pair of pale, bloodless, delicate and enticing jade-like feet were exposed. Master, you've been unconscious for over 2 months. Meng Xiaochan spoke, her voice somewhat downcast. That day, although they had taken the chance to escape from Jianghu Immortal City, they were still faced with the pursuit of the Heavenly Sword sect. Under the pursuit of Yun Jianfeng, Nangong Mili could only use a secret technique to carry Meng Xiaochan out of danger. But the after-effects of this secret technique were quite severe, causing her to fall into a deep unconsciousness, from which she had only now awoken. Over 2 months, upon hearing this, Nangong Mili's eyebrows slightly knitted together, and her enchantingly beautiful face showed a hint of seriousness. She took out a token with a heavenly spider pattern from her storage ring. After a moment, her serious face turned somewhat unsightly. "Master, what's wrong?" Meng Xiaochan looked at her master with pursed lips. She knew too well that on regular days, her master always presented a carefree and unrestrained demeanor. It was only in the face of serious, important matters that such an expression would appear. "My dear daughter, we are in danger now," Nangong Mili chuckled lightly, displaying a feigned ease. "In danger?" Upon hearing this, Meng Xiaocan's heart sank, vaguely guessing what was going on. She spoke up, "Master, have the sect hierarch and the Heavenly Corpse sect master been defeated?" She and her master Nangong Mili had come to Jiang country cultivation realm mainly to prepare for Jin Kingdom's invasion. On one hand, they were to contact and integrate the spies buried within Jiang country. On the other hand, they were to wait for the Five Poisons cult leader and Heavenly Corpse sect master to repel Xianjian true monarch Li Duanshuan. As soon as the Jin Kingdom's army invaded, they planned to disrupt the rear of Jiang country cultivation realm in conjunction with the 3 great demon sects of Jin Kingdom. Yet now, 3 months had passed since they had been pursued and nearly killed by the Heavenly Sword sect. No one from the Five Poisons cult of Jin Kingdom had contacted them, no one had come to their rescue. Seeing the expression on her own master now led her to surmise that the Five Poisons cult leader and Heavenly Corpse sect master had likely been defeated by Xianjian true monarch Li Duanshuan. That's correct, according to the information, the sect hierarch and Heavenly Corpse sect master seem to have lost the battle. In light of that, Jiang country cultivation realm is probably under a full lockdown right now, and it's going to be difficult for us to leave Jiang country and return to Jin Kingdom. Furthermore, the people from Heavenly Sword sect must still be hunting us down, Nangong Mili admitted without hiding anything, her voice soft and powerless. As she spoke, she tried to stand up. But because she was too weak, she stumbled halfway through. "Master." Seeing this, Meng Xiaochan quickly reached out and embraced her master's perfect delicate body. "Phew, after casting the sacrificial goo insect technique, with my current condition, it's going to take 3 to 5 years to recover from these side effects," Nangong Mili said, shaking her head slightly. While speaking, she gazed at Meng Xiaochan, who wore a heavy expression, and wrapped her pale jade arms around her, hanging off her as if for support. Putting on a pitiful look that inspired sympathy, she said, "My good daughter, in the coming days, your mother can only rely on you to take care of her." "Master." Meng Xiaochan never expected her master to still make jokes and tease her at such a time. He. Nangong Mili, tall and graceful, kissed Meng Xiaochan gently on her delicate and fair face. "Xiaochan, there's no use worrying now, given the way things are. It reminds me of the days when I, with my own master, your great-grandmother, faced a similar ordeal. But back then, I was even younger than you are now, having just broken through foundation establishment." Nangong Mili's beautiful eyes filled with nostalgia as she spoke softly. She had taken Meng Xiaochan as her personal disciple and treated her so well partly because Meng Xiaochan was her master's descendant. Another part was seeing her own past self in Meng Xiaochan. Remembering how she had been taught and cared for like a daughter by her own master. This made her develop a mischievous streak whenever she saw Meng Xiaochan, unable to resist teasing her. Chapter 509, Nangong Mili and Meng Xiaochan. Meng Xiaochan pursed her lips and said nothing. This was still the first time she had heard about these things. After all, she didn't know much about that late great-grandmother. "So, let's just settle down in this mountain range for the next 3 or 5 years until the heat dies down. Once your teacher recovers some mana, well, consider our next move," said Nangong Mili as she pinched her disciple's delicate cheek. "Yes, master," Meng Xiaochan replied. Moved by her master's words and actions, Meng Xiaocan's previously taut mental spirit finally eased a little. These past 3 months, she had been utterly wound up. terrified that the people from Heavenly Sword sect would discover their whereabouts. After all, with her strength, thinking she could escape pursuit while escorting Nangong Meili was nothing but wishful thinking. Although Nangong Meili was extremely weak now, at least she gave Meng Xiaochan a backbone and a sense of calm. Just then. Buzz buzz buzz, a faint sound reached Meng Xiaocan's ears. Her exquisite face immediately took on a grave expression, and she gestured to her master. Then, with both hands forming seals, she concealed the entire cave's aura. Surviving in this mountain range for so long without being attacked by demon beasts or discovered by Heavenly Sword sect naturally involved her methods of hiding goo bugs in the surroundings. Any external disturbance would quickly alert her, allowing her to seal and isolate the cave's aura. Meanwhile, above the mountain range, a figure swept across the sky. There was definitely a whiff of demonic energy here just now, a stunning woman in her 30s muttered to herself. She wore a gray-white dress, her face was elegant, her skin was white as snow, her eyebrows were like green feathers, and her black hair was done up in a simple updo. As the breeze blew, her clothes fluttered, and she exuded a mature and sharp charm. Clang, looking at the mountain range, the beautiful woman's hands formed seals, and a clear sound of sword cries emanated from within her. A blue magical sword flew out of her body. After spinning in the air and forming a sword flower, the sword erupted in a dazzling and blinding azure radiance. Then, the radiance surged as the magical sword seemed to merge with the world itself, making every wisp of air contain a trace of sword chi. After a long while, whoosh whoosh whoosh, streams of sword chi shot out, slaying several goo bugs. Goo bugs, these are demonic goo bugs, indicating that there are demonic path cultivators hiding here, the beautiful woman exclaimed as she snapped open her sharp eyes, scanning over the mountain peaks. Her river sword art had allowed the sword chi to blend into the natural world, detecting something amiss, a number of goo bugs in this area. Goo bugs were a very niche aspect of the cultivation arts. Very few people in Jianghu country cultivated goo bugs. But one of the three major demonic sects in Jin Kingdom, the Five Poisons cult, was famous for using goo poison. Therefore, she immediately surmised that cultivators from the Five Poisons cult were hiding in these mountains. One of the three core formation fugitives is the Heavenly Spider envoy of the Five Poisons cult, Nangong Meili. This person's life-bound Heavenly Spider was slain by Senior Brother Tianjue, and earlier, under Senior Brother Tianju's pursuit, she used the life-burning secret technique to barely escape. So even if she is Nangong Meili, she is definitely no match for me, the woman thought to herself, her eyes as sharp as her sword. The next moment, the azure magical sword above her head violently slashed forward. A swath of sword light, immense like the rolling Milky Way, roared towards a mountain peak with tremendous force. Boom! Instantly, the entire mountain peak was leveled by this one strike. After flattening the peak and detecting no abnormalities, she continued to slash her sword towards another mountain. Boom! 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 One mountain peak after another was being leveled, causing the whole range to rumble as numerous birds, fierce beasts, and demon beasts trembled with fear at the disturbance. Master. In a certain cave, Meng Xiaochan, hearing such commotion, looked towards her own master. As soon as the goo bugs were killed, she immediately realized that someone from the Heavenly Sword sect must have arrived and noticed something was amiss. Previously, disciples of Heavenly Sword sect patrolled the area and passed by here, but none had taken notice of her. Meng Xiaochan surmised that it must have been an incidental leak of Nangong Meili's aura upon awakening that had alerted someone. After all, during such a tense time, it was common for the Heavenly Sword sect to cleanse the demonic path and craft some magic artifacts and treasures that could sense demonic energy. This is a third-rank top-tier teleportation talisman, Xiaochan. If you activate this talisman, you can escape from here, Nangong Meili said as she took out a talisman from her storage ring and handed it to Meng Xiaochan. Despite being weak and powerless, she could still muster a bit of mana. Master, I don't have the strength to fully activate a talisman of this level, and what about you? Meng Xiaochan asked with concern, looking at Nangong Meili. Of course, I will go with you. Do you really think I would abandon your master to escape alone? Boo-hoo, I never thought you would actually leave your master behind and flee on your own, boo-hoo. The moment Nangong Meili heard this, she immediately put on a pitiful expression, looking quite forlorn. Master, Meng Xiaochan said helplessly. At a time like this, her master was still acting like a drama queen. Silly girl, you just need to activate the teleportation talisman. Leave the rest to your master. Though afterward, your master will probably fall into unconsciousness again. When that happens, remember to seal your master's mana, or else once your master wakes up, there might be a leak of energy, and we could once again be detected by the people from Heavenly Sword Sect, Nangong Meili instructed. She had a rough guess that the person from Heavenly Sword Sect who hurried over likely did so because some treasure sensed her energy. Chapter 510, Nangong Meili and Meng Xiaochan. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence? As she spoke, her jade arms tightly wrapped around Meng Xiaocan's neck, draping her own enchanting body entirely over Meng Xiaochan. Master, I can't breathe like this. Meng Xiaochan was half a head shorter than Nangong Meili. At this moment, Nangong Meili's posture allowed two soft peaks to envelop her face directly within them. Alright, stop dawdling, hurry up. Nangong Meili, finding her little disciple's appearance quite amusing, pushed out her full and rich chest and urged with a voice. Meng Xiaochan didn't dare to hesitate and immediately consumed mana to use the third-rank teleportation talisman. The next moment, atop the mountain range, a beautiful matron clad in grey and white clothing immediately felt a surge of mana fluctuation. Immediately, her magical sword slashed at the mountaintop in front. This slash was incredibly fierce and tyrannical, with the sword light resembling a vast blue river falling from the heavens, dimming the luminance of the entire world. Roar! The mountaintop directly collapsed under this slash, split into two halves. The beautiful matron immediately transformed into a rainbow of light and, looking at the cave inside the large mountain with a cold expression, knew she had just failed to capture the demon head the moment before he escaped from her eyesight. Just then, as if sensing something, she suddenly looked in another direction, her magical sword brewing with power, ready to slash again. Senior, I just happened to pass by here. In the distance, a girl around 16 or 17 years old in black clothing clambered out from a pile of rocks, quickly raising her hand and shouted loudly. Although her eyes showed a hint of fear, her face was taut, and her eyes revealed unyielding determination. Fourth level energy refinement. The beautiful matron glanced at the girl in black, her brows slightly furrowed. She didn't know why the girl had appeared in these mountains. Although this mountain range wasn't exactly teeming with demon beasts, there were still quite a few roaming about. With the girl's strength, even a minor encounter with a powerful demon beast could be dangerous. Nevertheless, seeing the girl's situation, she realized she was caught up in the aftermath of her recent offensive. She instantly raised her hand, causing the surrounding rocks to disperse. Little girl, these mountains are very dangerous for someone of your strength. I'll send you on your way. Lan Ruoxua looked at the girl in black and said out loud. Thank you, senior. I was looking to cross these mountains to reach the Heavenly Sword Sect. The girl in black bowed in greeting. Oh, the Heavenly Sword Sect? What are you going there for? Lan Ruoxua was somewhat surprised to hear this. The Heavenly Sword Sect is an immortal sect for sword cultivators. I am determined to become a great sword immortal, so I want to join the Heavenly Sword Sect. The girl in black pursed her lips and spoke earnestly, her eyes showing unwavering resolve. It is not easy to be accepted into the Heavenly Sword Sect. Lan Ruoxua heard the girl's words, smiled, and said, Since fate has brought us together, and if you have talent in the sword Dao, I will take you to the Heavenly Sword Sect. Thank you, senior. Qin Yi immediately showed a look of excited joy upon hearing this. She had witnessed Lan Ruoxu's feat of leveling a mountaintop and shattering the large mountain and knew that Lan Ruoxue was a venerable expert. Hearing this, she guessed that the other party might well be an elder from the Heavenly Sword sect. Lan Ruoxue said nothing more, took a step forward, appeared in front of Qin Yi, held her wrist, and checked her spiritual root talent. A mountaintop that reached straight into the clouds. Atop this peak stood a misty spiritual pool surrounded by dense mist that obscured the view within the pool. It was neither morning nor night, yet thick mists shrouded the area around the pool. However, if a cultivator were to see this, they could tell that someone had set up a formation here, indicating that the spiritual pool was already occupied. Lu Lang, a beautiful woman with a graceful appearance and hair like a waterfall, was soaking in the spiritual pool. Her tall, well-formed body with skin like jade was semi-concealed in the pool, causing ripples to spread across the surface. Don't worry, if anyone comes, you'll notice them immediately, especially since you, Zi Xiao, have set up a formation. Lu Chongsheng, holding a tender warmth, circulated the dragon invocation technique, arranging the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Zixio's body. However, no sooner had his words left his mouth, he suddenly felt something was amiss and abruptly looked up at the sky. Suddenly the void rippled, and two figures fell plop into the spiritual pool from the sky. Chapter 511, Yu Family's Movement, Miss Xiao Chan. _1 Qingzhou Mountain, Lu Family. Boom! That day, above Qingzhou Valley, nature's spiritual energy began to surge, slowly forming a vortex of spiritual energy. What's happening? The surge of spiritual energy, forming a vortex. Someone is attempting foundation establishment. Foundation establishment? Who in our family is attempting foundation establishment? It must be because the Lu family ancestor previously rendered great service to the Qingyun sect, exchanging for a foundation establishment elixir or foundation establishment spirit objects, allowing someone from our family to initiate foundation establishment. I wonder if it's Uncle Miao Feng or Auntie Miaoga who is attempting foundation establishment. I read in the books, once the spiritual energy vortex forms, it signifies that the three challenges of foundation establishment have been passed, arriving at the most critical stage of foundation establishment. The final moment. I wonder if they can succeed. They must succeed. If so, our Lu family will have two foundation establishment great cultivators. Upon seeing this spiritual energy vortex, many Lu family disciples spoke out, buzzing with discussion. Although the news about Lu Yuanzhong's serious injuries had not been spread throughout the family, there were still many who heard rumors, whispers about it. They knew that their family ancestor had been severely injured while fighting the Xiahou clan and didn't have much longer to live. Now, seeing someone in the family attempting foundation establishment, they were naturally overjoyed and extremely excited. After all, for the Lu family, regardless of whether Lu Yuanzhong was seriously injured, having one more foundation establishment ancestor was an incredibly good thing. Each additional foundation establishment cultivator meant that the Lu family's strength and foundation had risen to a new level. Yuanding, Miaoga, you too must secure the family. Deep in Qingzhou Valley, Lu Yuanzhong acted as the protector for Lu Miaofeng. Seeing that Lu Miaofeng had reached the final step and was about to congeal his mana and lift the platform of the Tao, he transmitted his voice to Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaoga. Qi refinement impacting foundation establishment, the convergence of nature's spiritual energy, would inevitably cause some commotion. Especially at the final moment. Though the commotion was not significant, it could be clearly perceived within Qingzhou Mountain. But it was not guaranteed that it wouldn't invite dangerous trouble. Not to mention, the cultivation families in the vicinity all planted spies and internal informants within each other to grasp and understand the situation and information about each other's family. No one wanted to see a new foundation establishment cultivator born in a neighboring family. Hence, foundation establishment attempts were usually kept secretive. Just like how the previous Lu family ancestor had secretly taken him away from Qingzhou Mountain to attempt foundation establishment elsewhere. Only after the success of foundation establishment did he return to the family. Yes, ancestor. Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaoge responded with a nod. Due to the war against the Xiahou clan, the Lu family had suffered great losses. Thus, for Lu Miaofeng's foundation establishment this time, to avoid any accidents, Lu Miaoge had been stationed in Qingzhou Mountain. By Lake Mountain, Yu family. Ancestor, we have received word from our people that someone from the Lu family is currently attempting foundation establishment. They have passed the 3 challenges of foundation establishment and have reached the critical moment. As for who is attempting foundation establishment, it's not yet confirmed, but it's either Lu Miaoge or Lu Miaofeng. The patriarch of the Yu family came to the back mountain of the family estate and reported this piece of information to their patriarch. When Lu Yuanzhong was poisoned by corpse toxin in Blackwater Pool, I had guessed that his life wouldn't last long, and he would need to prepare for the aftermath, allowing the Lu family to birth a new foundation establishment cultivator. Previously, young Master Bai, after exchanging for a foundation establishment elixir at the Qingyun sect, used up all the family's savings by relying on old favors to secure an opportunity to attempt foundation establishment within the Qingyun sect, and he successfully achieved foundation establishment. If we allow the Lu family to birth another new foundation establishment cultivator, won't all our Yu family's plans be in vain? Yu Jinyang, clad in a blue brocade robe with youthful looks despite his white hair, his eyes sharp as lightning, snorted coldly. Ancestor, do you mean to directly attack Qingzhou Mountain? The patriarch of the Yu family tentatively inquired. Recently, the Qingyun sect has forbidden conflicts among the major families. If we launch a full attack on Qingzhou Mountain, we might provoke the Qingyun sect to intervene. Moreover, right now the Lu family must be on high alert with their great formation fully operational, thus attacking Qingzhou Mountain wouldn't be easy. Furthermore, our Yu family has a cooperation arrangement with the Lu family, and it would seem rather unsightly for us to act this way. Yu Jinyang declared. Ancestor, are we just going to let the Lu family succeed in foundation establishment? The patriarch of the Yu family voiced out, somewhat unwilling to accept the situation. He was very clear that his ancestor had great ambitions, aiming to swallow up the surrounding major families. Currently, the Wugong Ridge Zheng family was without a successor and their patriarch's life was fading, already infiltrated by their Yu family. It could be said that once the Zheng family patriarch died, the Wugong Ridge Zheng family would completely become a vassal to their Yu family, an item in their bag. The 100 Birds Lake Bai family and Qingzhou Mountain Lu family also figured into their Yu family's plans. Initially, the lifespan of the Bai family ancestor was nearing its end, and as long as they outlasted him, 100 Birds Lake was unlikely to escape the grasp of their Five-Finger Mountain. By then, only Qingzhou Mountain Lu family would remain, naturally unable to face their Yu family alone. However, the Bai family ancestor also realized this fact. Knowing his life was short and that it was very difficult for someone in the family with superior spiritual roots to attempt foundation establishment, they needed a foundation establishment elixir. Therefore, during the fight against the Xiahou clan, he took the opportunity to risk his life. He wished to gain strong merit before death to acquire a foundation establishment elixir for his family. Although the Bai family ancestor died in battle, he truly accumulated considerable merit. Just a short while ago, relying on the merit of the Bai family ancestor, young Master Bai went to the Qingyun sect to exchange for a foundation establishment elixir, then spent all the family's savings to get the chance to attempt foundation establishment within the Qingyun sect, and he was successful. With a new foundation establishment cultivator, the Yu family naturally had to change their plans, focusing their breakthrough on Qingzhou Mountain's Lu family. They, the Yu family, had participated in the war against the Xiahou clan and knew that Lu Yuanzhong had sustained foundational injuries in that battle. Chapter 512, Yu Family's Movement, Miss Xiao Chan. Therefore, the plan, which was originally to grind the Bai family ancestor to death, was changed to grinding Lu Yuanzhong to death. As long as Lu Yuanzhong died, the Lu family would be at a loss, without a new foundation establishment cultivator emerging, and the Yu family could take the opportunity to divide Jianghu Mountain and take the Red Leaf Valley market into their pocket. At that time, faced with the power of the Yu family, the Bai family would find it hard to stand alone and would have no choice but to submit. If, this time, a new foundation establishment cultivator were born to the Lu family and the Bai and Lu families continued their alliance, it would be much more difficult and troublesome for their Yu family to swallow the Red Leaf Valley market with two family strength against them. Doing nothing and letting the Lu family initiate foundation establishment is not the style of this old ancestor. Go and inform Ning Jun to accompany this old man to Jianghu Mountain. Now that the Lu family is at a critical juncture of foundation establishment, they naturally wouldn't dare to meet the enemy head-on. We just need to hide our identities, harass Jianghu Mountain, and cause the nature's spiritual energy there to become chaotic. Besides, the one in Jianghu Mountain who is attempting foundation establishment, upon hearing this disturbance, will certainly be distracted and his state of mind affected, which might lead to a failure in foundation establishment. Yu Jinyang stood with his hands behind his back and spoke. The ancestor is wise. The patriarch of the Yu family understood the intent of their family's old ancestor upon hearing these words. When a cultivator attempts foundation establishment, not only is abundant spiritual energy required, but also a quiet environment. Because the spiritual liquid concentrate is transforming into mana, lifting the Tao platform, one cannot afford to be distracted. One moment of negligence can lead to failure in foundation establishment. If someone were to interfere during the process, or if a situation arises outside, one's mentality and state of mind would surely be affected, thus affecting the foundation establishment. Especially when attempting foundation establishment, hearing disturbances and knowing that one's own family is under attack would likely affect any clan cultivator's state of mind and mentality. Ancestor, if we act in this manner, what should we do if the Lu family goes to the Qingyun sect to complain afterward? The patriarch of the Yu family continued to inquire. The Qingyun sect had regulations in place. During the recruitment period, all major families and forces must cease any conflicts and disputes. Furthermore, within 3 years, all must develop peacefully without engaging in conflict or war. The expedition against the Xiahou clan happened a mere half a year ago. If the Yu family were to commit such an act, and the Lu family were to complain to the Qingyun sect afterward, it could potentially bring trouble upon the Yu family. How could the Qingyun sect possibly care about such trivial matters? Unless we launch a full-scale attack on the Lu family and destroy Jianghu Mountain, perhaps the Qingyun sect might send someone to question us. Merely harassing and affecting Jianghu Mountain, why would the Qingyun sect have the leisure to deal with such matters? Even if someone were to come, it would be nothing more than a warning and some punishment. Yu Jinyang scoffed upon hearing this, speaking directly. He then turned to the patriarch of the Yu family and said, Ning Yuan, the Qingyun sect stands aloof from the world, and its actions have always been about maintaining its dignity, not upholding justice and fairness. To them, our family forces are merely dogs in their eyes, and they couldn't care less about our minor scuffles. Therefore, towards the Qingyun sect, we should hold reverence, but not excessive fear. Yu Jinyang spoke, his voice firm. Thank you for the teaching, ancestor. The patriarch of the Yu family said, bowing his hands in response. Soon after, Yu Jinyang left Yu Ninghu in charge of Bai Lake Mountain and, taking the newly advanced foundation establishment, Yu Ningjuan, went to Jianghu Mountain. He also sent a message to Yu Yuanshan, who was stationed at the Red Leaf Valley Market. The three of them went to Jianghu Mountain together, intending to disrupt and interfere with the foundation establishment happening there. At a mountain peak's spiritual pool. Lu Chongsheng and Ling Zixiao were bathing in the spiritual pool, grooming their yang energy, and speaking intimate words to each other. Suddenly, a ripple spread through the void. 2 figures appeared, and with a plop, they fell into the pool. One of the figures was pale-faced with no trace of blood, and upon falling into the water, began to sink with bubbling sounds. The other figure managed to stabilize herself as she fell into the pool but, upon seeing Lu Chongsheng, she froze on the spot. In her beautiful eyes, a mix of emotions surged, surprise, astonishment, tenderness, and more, leaving her at a complete loss. However, Lu Changsheng didn't notice all this. He and Ling Zixiao saw people appearing, and in the blink of an eye, their mana surged, gleaming lights flowed around their bodies, then they moved to the shore, draping their robes loosely over themselves. Ling Zixiao leaned against Lu Changsheng with flushed cheeks. She never would have imagined, after finally mustering the courage to comply with Lu Changsheng's unreasonable request and agreeing to groom their yang energy in this mountain peak spiritual pool, that they would encounter such an incident. This left her mind a blank slate, as if muddled, her heart stricken with intense embarrassment. Lu Changsheng was somewhat astonished as he looked towards the two who had crashed into the spiritual pool. He wondered how the two had appeared there. He was focusing all his efforts on sorting out the yang energy for Ling Zixiao, but his divine sense was indeed paying attention to the surroundings. He hadn't noticed at all how the two managed to approach so quietly. Moreover, around this spiritual pool, Ling Zixiao had laid down an inverted 5 elements formation. Typically, foundation establishment cultivators could not easily break through it, let alone enter the formation silently and without a trace. Lu Lang. Just then, Meng Xiaochan, dressed in a purple gown, emerged from the water surface, her face pale as she called out to Lu Changsheng. Her shout was laden with a mix of emotions, surprise, joy, longing, tenderness, grievance, and more. Earlier, she and her master Nangong Meili had faced danger in the cave and had to forcibly activate a third-order teleportation talisman to make their escape. For her, this level of talisman was not only extremely draining to use and difficult to activate, but it was also uncontrollable. She could only rely on her master Nangong Meili's aid to activate it. The moment they used the talisman, they were attacked by a burst of sword qi. Although they managed to escape using the teleportation talisman, both she and Nangong Meili were injured in the process. But she had never imagined that the teleportation talisman would lead her to Lu Changsheng. On this trip to Jianghu country, her heart had been in turmoil, wondering if she might encounter Lu Changsheng. After all, she harbored an unstoppable longing for Lu Changsheng, and to say he filled her thoughts by day and haunted her dreams by night was by no means an exaggeration. However, a shred of clarity and rationality in her heart made her dread seeing Lu Changsheng. She was afraid that upon seeing Lu Changsheng, she would lose herself. Lu Lang. Ling Zixiao quickly recovered her wits and looked towards the two in the spiritual pool, ready to suppress them through the formation. But upon hearing Meng Xiaoquan's sudden call of Lu Lang, she was stunned again, with a dumbfounded expression. What the hell, did this girl know Lu Changsheng? Furthermore, this call of Lu Lang gave her the impression of a long-awaited reunion, filled with tender affection. It made her immediately realize that the relationship between the two was out of the ordinary, extremely close. Could it be that the two were called here by Lu Changsheng, wanting to? In an instant, a notion surfaced in Ling Zixiao's mind. But she quickly dismissed the thought the next moment. Not out of trust in Lu Changsheng's character. When it came to matters of men and women, she had no particular trust in Lu Changsheng. She had long determined that Lu Changsheng was no ordinary cultivator. Although such a scenario was outrageous, it was not entirely impossible. The reason she dismissed the idea was that she could clearly sense that their appearance hadn't triggered her formation. It seemed as if they had arrived through the use of space-traveling spell or teleportation formation. Yet, space-traveling spells are exceedingly profound. Apart from the rare mutant spiritual root known as Sky Spirit Root, only nascent soul true lords could master such divine skills. As for teleportation formations, that's even less likely. One would need to be a third-order top-rank formation master to set up such a formation. And the process of setting one up is very complex. It's impossible to teleport without a proper setup. Miss Xiaochan. Lu Changsheng, hearing Meng Xiaoquan's voice and seeing the girl before him, was surprised. He hadn't expected that the girl who had suddenly appeared would be Meng Xiaochan. From the information he had purchased in Jiuxiao Immortal City, he already knew that Meng Xiaochan belonged to the Five Poisons cult of Jin Kingdom's demonic path. She should be on the run from the Heavenly Sword sect with the Heaven Spider emissary Nangong Meili, so how did she suddenly show up here? Indeed, they know each other. Ling Zixiao, upon hearing Lu Changsheng's address to Meng Xiaochan, paused internally and thought to herself that they indeed knew each other, and their relationship was not ordinary. The next moment, upon seeing Meng Xiaocan's appearance and features, her eyes instantly showed a look of surprise and doubt. She had seen information about the demonic path incident in Jianghu Immortal City that Lu Changsheng had purchased. The jade slip contained details about Meng Xiaochan, her background, and introduction. Now seeing Meng Xiaochan, she instantly recognized that this was the demonic path cultivator who was being pursued by the Heavenly Sword sect as mentioned in the incident at Jianghu Immortal City. This caused her to wonder with surprise, how Lu Changsheng had dealings with a demon cultivator. Could it really be that he was some kind of heretical or demonic cultivator? Chapter 513, Such a Coincidence? A Wave of Romance? A Cauldron-like Body. _1 Lu Lang, it's me. Meng Xiaochan, seeing Lu Changsheng recognize her, immediately said with a face full of joy. She then wanted to embrace Lu Changsheng like a swallow returning to its nest. But the next moment, her delicate body suddenly stiffened. She stood in place, silent. Her teeth bit into her pale lips, her hands clasped over her clothes, a look of profound sadness and dejection on her face, her mood low. Although she harbored a heart full of longing and affection for Lu Changsheng, upon seeing Lu Changsheng, an uncontrollable joy and excitement surged from the depths of her heart. But she was clear in her heart. Her affection for Lu Changsheng stemmed from the Lockhart Gu. Between her and Lu Changsheng, there was nothing that could be called affection. Even more so, considering the past grudges and disputes between them, Lu Changsheng might harbor disgust for her. Now, she had stumbled upon Lu Changsheng in such a situation. Furthermore, as a person of the demon path, she was currently being pursued and wanted by the Heavenly Sword sect of Jianghu country. It made her emotions complicated, unsure of how to face Lu Changsheng. Did this woman do something to wrong Lu Changsheng in the past? Ling Zixiao, standing to the side, saw Meng Xiaocan's face filled with excitement and joy moments ago, wanting to throw herself into an embrace, but now, she immediately showed a hesitant and awkward appearance, and couldn't help but speculate in her heart. Lu Changsheng, seeing Meng Xiaocan's pitiful look, as if she had done something wrong, could roughly guess what the other party was thinking. After all, the two of them couldn't be said to be familiar with each other, they had only met a few times. And their meetings had not been friendly. But to say they weren't familiar? The two of them had, because of the Peach Blossom Gu, formed deep bonds. After the incident in Red Leaf Valley, Lu Changsheng was almost certain. Under the backlash of the Peach Blossom Gu, Meng Xiaocan's affection for him ran deep. Otherwise, she wouldn't have acted so irrationally when he was in danger, and after the event, she would not have given him Foundation Establishment elixirs, Foundation Establishment spirit objects, and spirit stones, all for the sake of his forgiveness. Miss Xiaochan, how come you are here? Lu Changsheng asked. In the Battle of Red Leaf Valley, he had let go of the past grievances. After all, he hadn't lost out in his dealings with Meng Xiaochan. He managed to reach Foundation Establishment easily, and it was all thanks to the Foundation Establishment elixir gifted by Meng Xiaochan. Without Meng Xiaocan's 2 Foundation Establishment elixirs, not only would his own Foundation Establishment have been difficult, Xiao Xia's attempt might also have been dangerous. Besides, maybe it's because men are more forgiving of those who like them. After all, she likes him so much. If she were to become the mother of his child in the future, would these issues even matter? Let it be considered as a meeting of love and conflict. However, Lu Changsheng was indeed curious why Meng Xiaochan had suddenly appeared here. I came to Jianghu country with my master to do a task and then was pursued by the Heavenly Sword sect. Meng Xiaochan, hearing Lu Changsheng's question, pursed her lips and without hiding anything, told the story bit by bit. She indicated how she and her master had been hiding along the way from the Heavenly Sword sect's pursuit, but were discovered previously and managed to escape with the help of a teleportation talisman. A teleportation talisman? You just happened to teleport here, such a coincidence? Lu Changsheng, hearing this, paused. He immediately thought of his peach blossom goo. The peach blossom goo would enhance his love luck in mysterious ways. And in his eyes, this incident fit the bill for love luck. Otherwise, how could such a coincidence occur? He asked, Miss Xiaochan, do you have any plans for what comes next? Although he held no ill feelings toward Meng Xiaochan, he even thought of taking her home to be the mother of his child at one point. But now, since she was involved with the demon path and the heavenly sword sect, he didn't harbor such thoughts anymore. It wasn't because of some irreconcilable difference between righteous and demonic paths or a prejudice against the demon path, but given the current tense situation between Jiang country and Jin kingdom, Meng Xiaocan's involvement in the Zhouxiao Immortal City incident would implicate him with the demon path if he had any connections with her. If the heavenly sword sect found out, not only he but the entire Lu family could be in danger. Lu Lang, don't worry. I won't cause you any trouble, I'll take my master and leave. Meng Xiaochan, biting her pale lips, said so. As soon as she finished talking, her heart skipped a beat, and she immediately remembered her master, Nangong Mili, and how after they fell into the spiritual pond, her master had sunk into the water. Seeing Lu Changsheng, she had been thrown into disarray. For the moment, she had forgotten all about Nangong Mili. Master! She exclaimed in shock, and immediately dove into the spiritual pond to fish out her master. Master, 5 Poisons Cult, Heaven Spider Emissary, Nangong Mili? Lu Changsheng's eyes slightly narrowed, looking towards the figure that sank into the spiritual pond. In his mind appeared the image of the bewitching woman in black he had seen at the Zhouxiao Immortal City. Even though he had only glanced at her briefly at the time, her captivating allure had left a lasting impression on him. According to the intelligence he bought afterward at Heaven Knowledge Tower, this person was likely the Heaven Spider emissary of the 5 Poisons cult, Nangong Mili. Mid-nascent soul stage cultivation, born with a seductive body. A moment later. Glub glub, Meng Xiaochan emerged from the spiritual pond holding Nangong Mili, who was clad in a black dress. At this moment, both of their clothing was totally wet, clinging to their skin, their curvaceous figures fully displayed under the wet fabric. Especially Nangong Mili, in her black gauze dress, her figure was graceful and already full of temptation, bewitching. Now, her perfect enticing body, wrapped in wet clothing, was the epitome of temptation. The proud fullness in front of her chest heaved with her breathing, the slender waist that could be grasped with a hand, and the round, prominent bottom, all radiated an intoxicating carnal scent. Chapter 514, Such a Coincidence? A wave of romance? A cauldron-like body. The damp, jet-black hair clung to her ghastly pale and bloodless exquisite cheeks, beautiful and bewitching, exuding an indescribable sense of tragic beauty. It ignited a possessive desire in onlookers while also compelling them to feel sympathy. So this is the naturally charming body? Even in a comatose state, she's filled with allure and charm. Lu Changsheng couldn't help but glance sideways, taking in a few looks, and felt moved by the charm of the beguiling body. To his knowledge, the naturally enchanting body was just a type of ordinary spiritual body commonly found in females. It was nothing rare or special. The allure of Nangong Mili, besides her natural bewitching body, he reckoned, must also have something to do with her appearance, or perhaps the cultivation technique she practiced. This thought triggered another in his mind. If he were to absorb her essence, he wondered what benefits he might acquire. In the cultivation world, the enchanting body was also referred to by the term, cauldron body constitution. This indicated that the bewitching body was especially suitable for practicing dual cultivation absorption techniques. Although it wasn't as beneficial as the charming female body or primordial yin physique for dual cultivation, it still offered significant advantages for absorption. Particularly since the Nangong Mili in front of him was a nascent soul immortal. If he could absorb her true elixir's primordial yin, the benefits might be substantial. Once this idea took hold, it immediately filled Lu Changsheng's mind, making him feel as though two little figures were wrestling in his head. One dark figure told him that both Meng Xiaochan and Nangong Mili were from the demon path. If he became involved, it might bring trouble. He'd be better off taking the opportunity to absorb her essence and kill her. On the other hand, a light figure told him that he was, after all, a gentleman of integrity. How could he commit such an act? Master. Meng Xiaochan embraced her master, bringing her to the shore to examine her condition. She immediately found that her master's condition was very bad. Previously, she and Nangong Mili had escaped with a teleportation talisman. But with her own strength, she couldn't activate the talisman at all. It was only possible with Nangong Mili's assistance. Nangong Mili, at that time, was already in a severely injured state, having just awakened and extremely weak. Upon activating the talisman, she collapsed back into unconsciousness. Then, she was struck by a sword beam from Lan Ruoxue, which drastically worsened her already serious condition. It wasn't life-threatening yet. But if it continued, her life would indeed be at risk. Meng Xiaochan immediately took out a healing pill from her storage bag, fed it to Nangong Mili, and helped her refine the medicinal essence. Miss, I see that your master is in a bad state right now. Moreover, you and your master are being hunted by the Heavenly Sword sect. If you leave like this, once you encounter a disciple of the Heavenly Sword sect, I'm afraid it will be dangerous. At that moment, Ling Zixiao, who was beside Lu Changsheng, looked at Meng Xiaochan and spoke out. Through Lu Changsheng's gaze and breathing, she could sense that her lover had a possessive desire for the present Nangong Mili. To this, she could somewhat understand. On one hand, Nangong Mili was indeed captivating. Even as a woman herself, she felt somewhat attracted. An additional reason was that she had reviewed the information on the demon path happenings in the Jianghu Immortal city. She recognized Nangong Mili. She knew that this unconscious woman was one of the nascent soul immortals being chased by the Heavenly Sword sect. The Heaven Spider emissary from the Five Poisons cult, Nangong Mili. She was aware that Lu Changsheng was proficient in many dual cultivation and absorption techniques. A weakened, unconscious nascent soul immortal before him was like a grand medicinal herb to someone like Lu Changsheng, who was adept in absorption techniques. If he could absorb her essence, the benefits might be immense. My disciple and I appearing here will surely bring trouble for Daoist Lu An. Lu Daoist. Therefore, in order not to cause you two any trouble, Meng Xiaocan's delicate face was somewhat pale. She bit her lip lightly, her voice quivering as she spoke. How could she not know that she and her master were in extreme danger? But at this moment, her heart was very complicated. On one hand, her affection for Lu Changsheng made her want to approach him, to show her soft side in front of him, seeking help. Yet that same affection made her worry about causing Lu Changsheng trouble. Apart from affection, the few remaining shreds of rationality in her heart also made her worried. Fear gripped her that Lu Changsheng might turn against her and her master. After all, she had witnessed Lu Changsheng's methods before. She knew Lu Changsheng was truly extraordinary. A decade had passed, and Lu Changsheng had successfully established his foundation, his strength and methods only becoming more formidable. If her master, Nangong Mili, had been well, things would have been fine. But now her master was seriously injured and comatose, and she herself was in a weakened state. If Lu Changsheng decided to make a move against them, she feared she would be utterly powerless to resist. Miss Xiaochan, as Zixiao said, it's very dangerous for you to take your master away with you now. There's a formation here that conceals your presence, which should offer some security. Let me take a look at you and your master's condition. Lu Changsheng looked at Meng Xiaochan before him, sighed softly, his heart softening a bit. In the end, he couldn't bring himself to take advantage of their vulnerability, to harvest and kill them. Nor could he watch Meng Xiaochan, who had deeply cared for him, leave with Nangong Mili in such a state, falling into peril. Since fate had strangely brought them together here, creating ties between them, adding a few more didn't matter anymore. Lu Lang, Meng Xiaochan heard these words, her beautiful eyes locked onto Lu Changsheng, her eyes reddening, slightly moist. She was not a fragile person. Since her grandmother's death, she had been traveling alone through the cultivation world, her temperament surpassing countless others. But these past few months had been too exhausting for her. Her master comatose, facing the pursuit and assassination by the Heavenly Sword sect, each day was filled with terror, like walking on thin ice. Today, her master had finally awakened, but due to Lan Ruoxu's sword strike, their situation had deteriorated further. Not only was she weakened, but her master Nangong Mili was also facing a life-threatening crisis. Therefore, faced with Lu Changsheng's concerned words, her tough inner self and taut nerves completely collapsed. "It's okay." Lu Changsheng saw Meng Xiaoquan's eyes brimming with tears, her delicate and pure face full of grievances, and he felt pity, sighing softly in his heart, moving forward to comfort her. He, Lu, has always been tender-hearted, unable to bear seeing tears. Meng Xiaoquan's pitiful demeanor indeed invoked sympathy and made him want to hold her in his arms and protect her. Lu Lang, Wu, hearing Lu Changsheng's soothing words, like a gentle breeze, Meng Xiaochan could no longer control her emotions, suppressing them no longer, she rushed into Lu Changsheng's arms, hugging him tightly. Her pale, delicate cheek rested against his chest as she sobbed softly. The sobbing grew louder, eventually turning into a loud wail. It seemed as if she wanted to release all the sadness, pain, anxiety, discomfort, and all other emotions from deep within her heart. It's all right, I'm here." Lu Changsheng hugged Meng Xiaochan, his hand gently caressing her back, his voice soothing her. Although he knew Meng Xiaochan must not be young in age. But her appearance and her posture still conveyed a sense of a delicate and young girl. Ling Zixiao, who was watching from aside, said nothing. He pondered to himself, considering how Meng Xiaochan previously interacted with Lu Changsheng in a hesitant manner, wondering what it was all about. From the current situation, she did not seem to have done anything to wrong Lu Changsheng. Nor did Lu Changsheng seem to hold any grudge against her. What is going on between these two? Ling Zixiao, observing the scene, truly found it incomprehensible. After a long while, the young girl had expressed her tumultuous emotions. Lifting her rain-streaked, delicate face, she pleaded with a vulnerable look, "Lu Lang, can you save my master?" Before, Meng Xiaochan would have found it difficult to ask Lu Changsheng for help. But after her emotional outburst, not only had her tough inner self and taut nerves crushed, but also the last bit of rationality she had towards Lu Changsheng. Instinctively, she saw him as her support. "All right, I have healing pills here, start by recovering from your injuries." Lu Changsheng extended his hand and gently wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. He then took out a bottle of high-grade healing pills from his storage bag and gave them to Meng Xiaochan. Thank you, Lu Lang." Meng Xiaoquan's pale face broke into a smile, and she took out a pill and swallowed it directly. Then, Lu Changsheng moved to the side, to where Nangong Mili lay pale and tempting, took hold of her pallid wrist, and began to check her condition. Chapter 515, Deep Master-Disciple Affection, Refining the Lockhart Gu _1 Lu Changsheng held Nangong Mili's pale and delicate wrist, as mana and divine sense entered her body. He immediately noticed that her physical body was weak, her meridians and dantian were dried up, and she was in a state of severe stress. She must have suffered a serious injury and used some kind of life-consuming secret technique. Is this a nascent soul immortal's true elixir? Afterward, Lu Changsheng's divine sense ventured into the interior of Nangong Mili's Qi ocean core. There, on the Dao platform, a round, dimly lit, dark purple true elixir quietly floated. This was the first time that Lu Changsheng had seen a real true elixir. He had only read descriptions of it in books before. His divine sense touched the true elixir. He vaguely sensed a mysterious charm of the laws of the world. The true elixir that a cultivator condenses is related to the cultivation technique and foundation they have cultivated. Through the true elixir, one can roughly discern a person's mana, cultivation technique, and foundation. Therefore, both the Tao foundation and the golden core are the privacy of cultivators. Unless the relationship between two people is very intimate, they would never allow others to look inside their Qi ocean core at the Tao foundation and golden core. Lu Chongsheng also took advantage of Nangong Mili's unconscious state to take a curious glance and broaden his knowledge. This true elixir should be a middle-grade true elixir, around 4th or 5th grade, perhaps? Looking at the true elixir, Lu Chongsheng pondered internally. According to what he knew, core formation was graded into 9 grades. From 9th to 7th grade were considered low-grade flawed cores. With a low-grade flawed core, one's chance to break through to nascent soul in this lifetime is already doomed. The worst, a 9th grade true elixir, is even referred to as a mixed core. Without great opportunity, not to mention an abrupt breakthrough to nascent soul, even advancing to mid-nascent soul stage is very difficult. 6th to 4th grade are considered middle-grade true elixirs. This quality of core formation theoretically has a sliver of hope for breaking through to nascent soul. But the hope is extremely faint. Without a great opportunity, it's basically impossible. 3rd to 1st grade are superior gold cores. Once a golden core is formed, there is a significant hope of breaking through to nascent soul. They are true geniuses. Exceptional individuals. Referred to as nascent soul seeds. The true elixir is dim and lusterless. It seems the situation is indeed quite serious. Naturally, what could have left a nascent soul immortal so weak and unconscious? The injuries must be far from ordinary. Although there's no risk to her life, waking her up and recovering will be far from easy. If she isn't treated immediately, and precious materials and treasures aren't used to warm and nourish the physical Bodhis meridians and the true elixir, not only will it be difficult to awaken, but even if she does wake up, it's expected that there will be damage to the foundation and a regression in cultivation level. Lu Chongsheng examined her one more time with his divine sense. He made a rough judgment about Nangong Mili's condition. After all, as a nascent soul immortal, her vitality was extremely tenacious, and she wouldn't die so easily. But if things kept dragging out like this, whether she could awaken and recover was really hard to say. And even if she did wake up, it's very likely that she would be left with chronic problems and suffer damage to her foundation and regression in cultivation level. Lu Lang, how is it? How is the condition of my mentor? At this moment, Meng Xiaochan looked toward Lu Chongsheng with hopeful eyes and asked in a weak voice. Your mentor's condition is quite troublesome. Lu Chongsheng exhaled lightly and shook his head. Nangong Mili's condition was indeed troublesome. He didn't have any good solutions for such a situation, only the most straightforward and old-fashioned ones. Elixir medicines, talismans, yin-yang nirvana art, life extension technique, the whole array of treatments. But to stabilize the condition of a nascent soul immortal like Nangong Mili would be difficult, and the cost was sure to be enormous. And he had no relationship with Nangong Mili, so why would he go to such lengths to save her? Hearing this, Meng Xiaocan's expression immediately dimmed. She had just checked on Nangong Mili's condition. She knew that her mentor was in a very bad state right now. Yet she had an inexplicable trust in Lu Chongsheng, subconsciously placing her hopes on him. However, it's not entirely hopeless. Lu Chongsheng, seeing Meng Xiaocan's pitiful appearance, pondered for a moment and spoke softly. He had given up on taking advantage of the situation to harvest from Nangong Mili, but he hadn't completely abandoned the idea. After his examination, he discovered that Nangong Mili was likely still a virgin and possessed true elixir Yuan Yin. At the same time, he discovered that Nangong Mili's true elixir had a Yin Chill attribute. She must have cultivated some Yin Chill attribute technique. If Nangong Mili were to wake up and recover, it's possible she could suppress the eruption of Ling Zixio's dragon roar physique and allow him the opportunity to resolve his own dragon roar physique issues. Saving her life and taking some benefits in return wouldn't be excessive, right? Lu Lang, do you have a way? Meng Xiaoquan's eyes lit up at his words. Yes, Lu Chongsheng nodded and spoke. Xiao Chan, as people of the Five Poisons cult from Jin Kingdom, you are currently being pursued and hunted by the Heavenly Sword sect. Saving her would surely bring trouble upon me. Moreover, the method I have for saving people involves dual cultivation secret techniques. If I proceed with the rescue, not only will it cost me greatly, but afterward, your mentor might blame me and even make an attempt on my life. So why would I pay such a price to save someone? Lu Chongsheng looked at the pitiful Meng Xiaochan before him and said earnestly. He did feel somewhat tender-hearted and pity for Meng Xiaochan, but he was not an indiscriminately kind person. He wasn't going to act soft-hearted and disregard the costs and consequences, exhausting his own source of life to assist and rescue. Moreover, while he trusted Meng Xiaochan, he had no trust at all in her mentor, the demon path which Nangong Meili. Who knows if, after saving her, she wouldn't turn around and act ungrateful. A nascent soul immortal, even in a weakened state, has extraordinary methods. Dual cultivation secret techniques, costing greatly. Chapter 516, Deep Master-Disciple Affection, Refining the Lockhart Gu Meng Xiaochan, upon hearing these words, lightly pursed her lips and remained silent. After a moment of contemplation, she suddenly looked up. Her pale and delicate face showed a firm resolve as she said to Lu Chongsheng, Lu Lang, so long as you can rescue my master, I will agree to any request you have. As for when my master wakes up, I will explain everything to her and ensure she won't harm you in the slightest. Meng Xiaochan spoke such words out loud. She knew that since Lu Chongsheng had spoken in such a manner, he must be confident in his ability to save her master. Otherwise, he wouldn't have spoken such words. As for Lu Chongsheng coveting beauty and her master's primordial yin, she didn't think in that direction at all. On one hand, it was because of her absolute trust in Lu Chongsheng. On the other hand, in her view, if Lu Chongsheng really wanted to do so, there was no need for such troubles, he could just take action directly. She and her master were completely powerless in the face of Lu Chongsheng. Therefore, she firmly believed that Lu Chongsheng was willing to pay the price to save her master for her sake. Indeed. Ling Zixiao, who was next to them, snorted lightly upon hearing the conversation. She thought to herself that Lu Chongsheng had finally shown his true colors. After all was said and done, it was still a matter of lust. However, as her partner, she would naturally not stand idly by if her beloved harbored such thoughts. After all, Lu Chongsheng had done so much for her these days, and it was only right for her to do something for him in return. Moreover, her lover's relationship with the young girl seemed rather complicated. Some words may not be appropriate to speak too bluntly. But if she were to speak them, it wouldn't matter. Ahem. Thereupon, Ling Zixiao let out a faint cough. Her voice crisply stated, Fellow Daoist, I was previously on the brink of death with my foundation damaged, but Lu Lang used a dual cultivation secret technique to save my life and heal my injuries. But this secret technique carries a huge cost, not only depleting one's origin source qi but also shortens one's lifespan. It's not as simple as you lightly promising to agree to any request. Besides, both you and your master are from the demon path and are known for acting without any inhibitions. When your master recovers and Lu Lang's origin source is damaged, what can he and I do if your master decides to strike? Even if your master refrains from acting against Lu Lang for your sake, what will happen if she later reveals your relationship with Lu Lang to the Heavenly Sword sect? Ling Zixiao looked at Meng Xiaochan and posed these questions. Meng Xiaochan was silent upon hearing these words. Just like what Lu Chongsheng and Ling Zixiao had said. Being involved with them was inherently risky and could lead to trouble. If Lu Chongsheng were to save someone, the ties would not be ordinary. If the Heavenly Sword sect were to find out, they might bring about a deadly calamity. Moreover, Lu Changsheng's rescue would come at a great cost and offer him no benefits. And based on her understanding of her master's character, she knew that although her master often assumed a carefree and flirtatious demeanor, enjoying teasing her, she always despised men and never spared them a second glance. If Lu Changsheng were to use a dual cultivation technique to heal her master, it was very likely that Nangong Mili could become annoyed afterward and act against Lu Changsheng. At that time, she wasn't sure she could persuade her enraged master. She wanted Lu Changsheng to save Nangong Mili, but she didn't want Lu Changsheng to fall into danger or attract trouble. Suddenly, the air was filled with silence. All three remained quiet. Lu Lang, do you carry the Lockhart Gu with you? At this moment, Meng Xiaochan lightly bit her lip and, with her eyes gazing at Lu Changsheng, she asked. She was well aware that escaping the pursuit of the Heavenly Sword sect and returning to the Five Poisons cult with her master was virtually impossible. The only option was to rely on Lu Changsheng's intervention until her master recovered. Therefore, even if it came at a significant cost, she was willing to have her master treated by Lu Changsheng using a dual cultivation secret technique. Moreover, in her heart, a character like Lu Changsheng was also a suitable match for her master. However, to ensure that her master would not harm Lu Changsheng upon awakening, she thought of the Lockhart Gu. The very Lockhart Gu that Lu Changsheng had taken from her. Lockhart Gu? Lu Changsheng was somewhat surprised to hear this. Yes, the one from before, the blood-red Gu insect. Meng Xiaochan spoke, her small hands lightly resting on her dress, as she looked down at her toes and said in a soft voice. She had intended to say the very Gu insect that she had used to bewitch Lu Changsheng before, but in the end, the memory of that event made it difficult for her to speak. Are you speaking of this Gu insect? Lu Changsheng, upon hearing this, immediately knew what Meng Xiaochan was referring to. He reached into his spiritual pet bag and took out a black Gu container. Opening the container, he revealed a Gu insect no more than an inch long, with a translucent bloody luster. It was the very Lockhart Gu he had obtained from Meng Xiaochan back then. He had long suspected it to be a Gu of love, which, with just one bite, would cause one to fall deeply in love. But the exact effect was unclear to him. Moreover, considering the unpredictability and dangers associated with Gu insects, he had always hesitated to refine it. Lockhart Gu. Ling Zixiao, upon hearing this, looked at the Gu in Lu Changsheng's hand and showed a look of surprise and confusion. Because of her dragon roar physique, she was unable to cultivate normally, so she spent most of her time studying formations, reading various books and notes, searching for a way to deal with her physique. She once came across information about the Lockhart Gu in a manual of a Gu cultivator. A top-tier earth spirit Gu. Its effects were incredibly overbearing. Once bitten by the Lockhart Gu, one would develop affectionate feelings for the host of the Gu. Virgin love emerging without reason, deepening profoundly. Even nascent soul immortals, or even nascent soul true lords would, after being bitten, inevitably fall for it despite realizing something was amiss. Chapter 5:17, Deep Master-Disciple Affection. Refining the Lockhart Gu, it would harbor affection for its host and feel no malice. She had not expected that Lu Changsheng actually possessed a Lockhart Gu. According to ancient records, such a Gu insect is exceedingly rare and is considered a spirit Gu of heaven and earth. Could it be that this woman has been bitten by the Lockhart Gu, and thus she has fallen in love with Lu Changsheng? Ling Zixiao looked at Meng Xiaochan, musing in her heart. She had long noticed that the relationship between Lu Changsheng and Meng Xiaochan was strange. Not like lovers, cultivation partners, or a normal relationship between a man and a woman. She had pondered for a long time but could not figure out the nature of their relationship. Now, upon seeing the Lockhart Gu, she suddenly had a speculation. However, it seems that this Lockhart Gu is not Lu Changsheng's but belongs to this woman. This woman was born into the Five Poisons cult. If she has inherited the Gu tradition, then acquiring the Lockhart Gu might make sense. But why is the Lockhart Gu in Lu Changsheng's hands, and why is this young girl afflicted by the Lockhart Gu herself? Ling Zixiao felt confused again, unable to understand what was going on. Yes, it is this Lockhart Gu. Meng Xiaochan saw the Lockhart goo and her eyes revealed a mix of complex emotions. It was because of this Lockhart goo that she and Lu Chongqing developed a deep connection. She pursed her lips and said softly, once bitten by the Lockhart goo, one will develop feelings of love for its host. If Lu Lang worries that the master might harm you, you can refine the Lockhart goo and use it on the master. That way, once the master wakes up, he will bear no malice towards Lu Lang, under the effect of the Lockhart goo. Meng Xiaochan spoke softly. Lu Chongqing raised his eyebrows upon hearing this. He had not expected Meng Xiaochan to offer such a solution. To let himself refine the Lockhart goo and use it on Nangong Meili. In that case, Nangong Meili upon awakening would harbor no ill will towards him. He had to admit, the suggestion was very tempting. Wouldn't this mean that not only could he take Meng Xiaochan home to bear children, but also bring the nascent soul immortal, Nangong Meili, home to bear children? Having children with a foundation establishment cultivator greatly increases the likelihood of the child possessing a spiritual root, and a good one at that. If one were to have children with a nascent soul immortal, the child's spiritual root talent would certainly be exceptional. Moreover, with the help of the Lockhart goo, he could brazenly live off the nascent soul immortal. Unlike now, where he has an opportunity to live off someone but dares not to do so. Fearing that he might try it and end up being consumed instead. Esteemed fellow Daoist, your 5 poisons cult is adept in the art of goo and poison. Your master, Nangong Meili, as a heaven spider emissary and nascent soul immortal of the 5 poisons cult, must surely have some goo insects in her body. And as I understand it, there is a concept of backlash among goo insects. If your master has a domineering goo in her body and Lu Lang uses the Lockhart goo on your master, it might not work and could even result in goo backlash. Before Lu Chongqing could reply, Ling Zixiao spoke. Although she had guessed some of the relationship between Lu Chongqing and Meng Xiaochan, her understanding of goo insects was ultimately limited. She was not sure whether doing so would be safe. So it was only natural to proceed with caution, asking some of the questions that Lu Chongqing might find hard to ask. Meng Xiaocan's delicate, pale face showed indifference as she glanced at Ling Zixiao. Then she turned to Lu Chongqing, her face sweetly pitiful, and said, Lu Lang can rest assured, to escape with me, the master used a secret technique to sacrifice all her goo insects. That's how we managed to flee from danger. Now, there are no more goo insects inside her body. Because of this, the master is so weak. Meng Xiaochan looked at Lu Chongqing with a sincere expression. Her showing this vulnerable, sweet, and humble side to Lu Chongqing was due to her affection for him. But this affection did not extend so far as to make her fond of Ling Zixiao. In fact, seeing Ling Zixiao getting close to Lu Chongqing made her quite unhappy. Moreover, she could sense that Ling Zixiao was clearly targeting her, so naturally, she was not in a good mood. Lu Lang, I have read about the Lockhart goo in ancient texts. Could you let me have a look at this goo insect? Ling Zixiao didn't care about Meng Xiaocan's glance but looked at Lu Chongqing and spoke. Lu Chongqing was somewhat astonished upon hearing this. He had not expected Ling Zixiao to be familiar with the Lockhart goo. Although he hadn't spent much effort searching for information related to this Lockhart goo, because of the Lockhart goo, Peach Blossom goo, and Hope goo, he had looked at quite a lot of information about the path of goo. However, the way of goo is truly too obscure, with too little relevant information. Therefore, he hadn't found any information on the Lockhart goo, Peach Blossom goo, and Hope goo. Miss Xiaochan, if I want to refine this Lockhart goo, how should I go about it? And as my master is a nascent soul immortal, would there be any repercussions if I were to use the goo on her? Lu Chongqing handed the Lockhart goo to Ling Zixiao for inspection and asked Meng Xiaochan. I have the incantation to refine the Lockhart goo. Lu Lang just needs to feed the Lockhart goo with his blood while refining it. The Lockhart goo is currently in a weakened state. My master is a nascent soul immortal, so the goo can only have a partial effect and cannot fully influence her. But under the influence of the Lockhart goo, the master will definitely not harbor any ill will towards Lu Lang. Meng Xiaochan said seriously to Lu Changsheng. After speaking, she continued to add, the Lockhart Gu can be used on a maximum of 3 people at the same time. Since the master is a nascent soul immortal, if Lu Lang hasn't cultivated the Gu, it's best not to use it on anyone else. Lu Lang, this Gu creature seems to match the descriptions I've seen in ancient texts, so it's likely to be genuine, but still, Lu Lang should be cautious. After all, the other party is a nascent soul immortal. After examining the Lockhart Gu for a moment, Ling Zixiao didn't continue to provoke Meng Xiaochan and sent a message to Lu Changsheng. Okay, I understand, Lu Changsheng replied to Ling Zixiao through a message. Then he looked at Meng Xiaochan and said, naturally, I believe Miss Xiaochan. There is just one thing I request, after your master awakens and recovers, I hope she can help suppress the dragon roar of yang energy within Zixiao. Lu Changsheng said. He didn't bother to mention his true elixir Yuan Yin right now. Suppress the dragon roar of yang energy? Meng Xiaochan looked at Ling Zixiao, somewhat puzzled after hearing this. Indeed, this is Ling Zixiao, my Dao companion. She possesses the dragon roar physique and is unable to cultivate. I have a method to solve the issue of the dragon roar physique, but it requires a nascent soul immortal practicing Yin Chill attribute techniques to suppress the backlash against her spiritual body. I just examined your master's condition, and it appears she practices Yin Chill attribute techniques, so I would like to ask for your master's assistance later. Lu Changsheng spoke candidly. Alright, Xiaochan will accept this on behalf of my master. Upon hearing this, Meng Xiaochan instantly nodded in agreement. Lu Lang, Ling Zixiao became slightly stunned at these words. She had thought Lu Changsheng was acting on lustful impulses towards Nangong Meili. Unexpectedly, Lu Changsheng's intention was to have Nangong Meili cured upon awakening to solve the issue with the dragon roar physique. This moved her heart deeply. Zixiao, take a look at this formation and see whether anything needs improvement, or perhaps find a more suitable location. Otherwise, if the people from the Heavenly Sword sect come searching, it will become troublesome. At that moment, Lu Changsheng spoke to Ling Zixiao in a gentle voice. Whether it was refining the Lockhart Gu or saving Nangong Meili, both would take a considerable amount of time. Therefore, during this process, they absolutely couldn't afford any disturbances. This place has a spirit pool to serve as the formation core, which is excellent for setting up a formation. If we want to be completely safe, I can set up an additional concealment array within the formation, and there's a high chance we won't be discovered, Ling Zixiao said so. Good, I appreciate your efforts, Lu Changsheng said and nodded his head. He then had Meng Xiaochan teach him how to refine the Lockhart Gu. Meng Xiaochan looked at Ling Zixiao in surprise, not expecting her to be an array master. Knowing that with the latter setting up the formation, they would be concealed and much safer, she and her master. She didn't linger and began to instruct Lu Changsheng in the method of refining the Lockhart Gu. And she informed Lu Changsheng that he had a particularly dominant Gu within his body. So, if he wished to refine other Gu, as long as the Gu in his body didn't mind, it would make the process much more efficient. After hearing this, Lu Changsheng immediately forced a drop of his essence blood to feed the Lockhart Gu. Then, with a slight movement in his mental spirit, he allowed the peach blossom Gu within his sea of consciousness to exude an oppressive force, subduing the Lockhart Gu. Boom! Under the pressure of the peach blossom Gu, the already weakened Lockhart Gu trembled violently. Seeing this, Lu Changsheng immediately enveloped the Lockhart Gu with his mana, activating the sacrificial refinement technique to refine the Gu creature. Assisted by the peach blossom Gu, the process went very smoothly. Lu Changsheng estimated that it would take just 3 to 5 days to fully refine the Lockhart Gu. Chapter 518, Foundation Establishment Strikes, Healing the Heart Lock. _1 outside Qingzhou Mountain. 3 foundation establishment auras tore through the sky. They wore conical bamboo hats, concealing their forms and breaths. The Lu family has indeed prepared early, running their family's great formation at full capacity, Ningjuan remarked upon seeing Qingzhou Mountain shrouded in a sky-blue glaze. No matter, our presence here is simply to meddle and disrupt, Yu Jinyang stated gravely. As his words ended, he positioned himself above Qingzhou Mountain, within the Foundation establishment region of Qingzhou Valley, and unleashed a spell, bombarding the second-rank Great Formation of Qingzhou Mountain. Upon witnessing this, Yu Yuanshan and Yu Ningjuan immediately joined Yu Jinyang in his actions. Boom, 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 in an instant, the spells of the three Foundation establishment cultivators landed on the second-rank Great Formation, causing a huge commotion and noise. This assault, although not adequate to inflict substantial damage on the Great Formation, still managed to impact the nature's spiritual energy within Qingzhou Mountain to some extent. Moreover, those within Qingzhou Mountain who were attempting Foundation establishment would inevitably notice this disturbance and become distracted. What's happening? An attack. An attack. Someone is attacking our family's Great Formation. This is bad. It's Foundation establishment cultivators. Foundation establishment great cultivators are attacking our Qingzhou Mountain. 3 Foundation establishment. Why now of all times? This clearly targets our Lu family. Who could it be? Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaoge among other core members of the Lu family were patrolling and guarding various positions. Upon hearing such a commotion, their expressions changed, and they looked out beyond the formation. They saw 3 Foundation establishment cultivators above Qingzhou Mountain, making moves against the Foundation establishment region. 3 Foundation establishment. Deep in Qingzhou Valley, Lu Yuanzhong, who was defending Lu Miaofeng, saw through the formation, eyed the 3 figures outside, his face somber. Miaofeng, steady your mind and don't get affected. He immediately transmitted his voice to Lu Miaofeng, who was inside the secret chamber, urging him to concentrate on his Foundation establishment. The appearance of 3 Foundation establishment cultivators who began attacking their Qingzhou Mountain's Great Formation without any warning, aimed directly at the Foundation establishment region. It was clear they came with a purpose, to disrupt Lu Miaofeng's Foundation establishment. Watching the 3 people above Qingzhou Mountain continuously bombarding the formation, Lu Yuanzhong had a faint guess about where they might have come from. But even if he guessed, it was of no use without evidence. All he could do was keep the Great Formation running at full power, stabilize the situation, and hold out until Lu Miaofeng's Foundation establishment was successful. Only with Lu Miaofeng's successful Foundation establishment could the Lu family have the capability to seek evidence and demand an explanation. That night, the crescent moon was high, and the stars filled the sky. At the mist-shrouded tranquil mountaintop, Lu Chongsheng let out a breath and looked at the blood-red, crystal-clear goo in his hand. After 4 days, he had finally refined the Lockhart goo. After refining the Lockhart goo, he could feel a strange connection with it, a connection not as deep as with his peach blossom goo, but it still gave him a general understanding of the Lockhart goo. The Lockhart goo could seize a person's 3 flowers, transform them into threads of affection, and lock them onto oneself. He looked towards Meng Xiaochan. He could distinctly sense an inexplicable link between them, which was the thread of affection. The Lockhart goo had placed Meng Xiaocan's threads of affection onto himself, thereby making her develop feelings of love towards him. This Lockhart goo can indeed only bind 1 or 2 more people. If those bound by it are too numerous or their cultivation is too high, it may exceed the Gus limits, rendering it ineffective, or even causing the threads of affection to snap. This is normal. After all, the Lockhart goo is but an earth spirit goo, and its effects are already quite remarkable. Moreover, with my Foundation establishment cultivation, if I nurture this Lockhart goo well and restore it to the pinnacle of 2nd rank, it won't be difficult to bind a nascent soul immortal, Lu Chongsheng thought silently while examining the goo. The Lockhart goo could essentially bind cultivators 1 level higher than oneself. For instance, during his Qi refinement stage, the 1st grade Lockhart goo could bind Foundation establishment cultivators. During Foundation establishment, a 2nd rank Lockhart goo could bind nascent soul immortal. During core formation, a third-rank peak Lockhart Gu could bind True Monarch. As for the Lockhart Gu at 4th rank, it was still at the True Monarch level. This was the upper limit of the Lockhart Gu. Immediately afterwards, Lu Changsheng turned to look at Meng Xiaochan, who was using mana to nourish Nangong Mili's physical body, and spoke, "Xiaochan, I have refined the Lockhart Gu." "Lu Lang, you've refined the Lockhart Gu." Upon hearing that Lu Changsheng had refined the Lockhart Gu so quickly, Meng Xiaochan's delicate and stunning face beamed with delight. Knowing that it took her more than a month to refine the Lockhart Gu, but Lu Changsheng took only 4 days. This speed and efficiency were astonishing, and it made her think inwardly, fitting of her beloved Lang, he truly was extraordinary. With such a talented and handsome Lang as her lover, even if her master was affected by the Lockhart Gu and grew affectionate towards Lu Changsheng, it wouldn't be a loss. Ling Zixiao, who heard the conversation, also looked towards Lu Changsheng, surprised that Lu Changsheng had refined the Lockhart Gu. Although she was not familiar with the art of Gu, she knew that refining a Gu was no simple task, especially such a rare and advanced Gu as the Lockhart Gu. Because Gu also have life and possess instinctive consciousness, they would resist the cultivator's refining process instinctively. Some fierce and dominant Gus could even cause backlash during the refining process. It seems that Lu Changsheng has in him a powerful and dominant Gu, or a treasure related to Gu arts, otherwise, it would have been impossible for him to refine the Lockhart Gu so rapidly. Alchemy, talisman making, talisman formation, and now a Gu or treasure capable of suppressing an earth spirit Gu, who is he really? Chapter 519, Foundation Establishment Strikes, Healing the Heart Lock. Ling Zixiao looked at the stunningly handsome and ethereal Lu Changsheng, murmuring to herself in amazement, unable to articulate her surprise. Previously, based on Meng Xiaochan's situation, she had guessed that Lu Changsheng must have some domineering Gu insect or a treasured Gu artifact within him. Otherwise, his situation with Meng Xiaochan would be inexplicable. Now, seeing Lu Changsheng refine the Lockhart Gu in just 4 days, she was nearly certain that there was a Gu insect within Lu Changsheng more powerful than an earth spirit Gu, perhaps some treasured Gu artifact. This made Lu Changsheng's image in her heart grow increasingly mysterious, grand, and majestic. At the same time, it made her somewhat afraid of him. On one hand, Lu Changsheng's performance these past few days had been too astonishing. On the other hand, Lu Changsheng had been excessively kind to her. In her view, their relationship was still one of utilitarian companionship. She was helping Lu Changsheng by managing the family and setting up formations. Lu Changsheng was resolving her dragon roar physique issue. Yet such a mysterious and formidable Lu Changsheng was so good to her. As if they were truly a married couple deeply in love. This caused her to feel moved, yet also a bit worried and scared. She felt that Lu Changsheng's intentions toward her weren't just about companionship, setting up formations, or managing the family, they had to be more complicated than that. If it were only about companionship, setting up formations, or managing the family, she truly didn't deserve such dedication from Lu Changsheng at the moment. That's right. I do have a Gu insect close to me that can help me refine other Gu insects, so it was relatively quick, Lu Changsheng said with a smile upon seeing the astonishment and disbelief of the two women. His swift refinement of the Lockhart Gu was naturally due to the Peach Blossom Gu. Without the Peach Blossom Gu's formidable suppression, it wouldn't have been so simple to refine an Earth Spirit Gu. Now that Lu Lang has refined the Lockhart Gu, we can begin, Meng Xiaochan said. She had intended to say they could now infest her master with a Gu. But halfway through, she felt that phrasing wasn't quite proper. Although she was doing this to save her master, having a peerless, great man like Lu Changsheng use a Gu on her master wouldn't be a loss. Still, the idea of gleefully letting her lover use a Gu on her master made her feel awkward and as if she was betraying her teacher. All right, leave the rest to me, Lu Changsheng nodded and looked towards Nangong Mili, who was beside him. Nangong Mili was still pale and unconscious at this time. Her perfect jade body, creamy as fine porcelain and voluptuously curved, was wrapped in a long black dress. Her proud, round, full breasts, although lacking any adornment, were suffused with an enchanting allure. Her waist was slim enough to circle with one's hands, and at her disproportionately svelte waist and hips, her contours were distinct and rounded, like grinding stones, full and plump. Her legs were straight and long. Beneath the hem of her dress, half of her slender, beautiful leg was visible in high heels, white and silky, both noble and sexy. Indeed, from the inside out, every part of her, every inch of skin, radiated a fatally enticing charm. Even for Lu Chongsheng, who had weathered many battles and seen much of the world, facing Nangong melee and thinking of what was to come stirred his emotions, and a slight heat arose in his lower abdomen. It seems my cultivation in this aspect is still not up to par. I need to gain more experience. Lu Chongsheng took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. Among his many wives and maids, Nangong melee might not be the most beautiful, but she was certainly the most enticing and captivating, not only in her looks, figure, and aura. Her status as a nascent soul immortal also evoked in him an indescribable urge to conquer. 30 years east of the river, 30 years west. There was a time when he, Lu, would be at the mercy of a nascent soul immortal. Today, he, Lu, could also ride the waves of a nascent soul immortal. Go, he mentally commanded and released the Lockhart Gu. Swoosh! The Lockhart Gu, like a red thread, flew and landed on Nangong melee's white and elegant swan neck. Immediately afterward, hiss! With a hiss, it bit into Nangong melee's white, elegant neck. As a nascent soul immortal, even without any body-refining techniques, her physical body was far from ordinary. But under the gentle bite of the Lockhart Gu, a small red spot immediately appeared on her neck, a tiny wound shining with a blood-red luster. In a short time, Lu Chongsheng could feel a mysterious force forming a connection through the Lockhart Gu, landing upon his body. It established a wondrous connection between him and Nangong melee. The love thread. This was the Lockhart Gu using Nangong melee's essence, qi, and spirit as a medium, transforming into a love thread, tied to himself. Currently, this strand of love thread was only a primer, very faint. Nowhere near as strong as the one between Meng Xiaochan and himself. As time went on, the effects of the Lockhart Gu would make the strand of love thread grow stronger. Eventually, the other party would fall completely in love with him, an infatuation beyond escape. Ling Zixiao quietly observed this scene from the side. She wondered whether the Lockhart Gu could truly bind Nangong melee completely, causing her to fall irrevocably in love with Lu Chongsheng. If the Lockhart Gu could hold a nascent soul immortal like Nangong melee, then that amounted to Lu Chongsheng gaining a nascent soul Dao companion. Although Nangong melee was a demonic path cultivator and currently wanted by the Heavenly Sword sect, as long as she evaded their pursuit, she would be able to provide tremendous assistance to Lu Chongsheng in the future. Meanwhile, she couldn't help but ponder. The Lockhart Gu can bind up to 3 people at most. Now that Lu Chongsheng had used the Lockhart Gu on both Meng Xiaochan and Nangong melee, she wondered, if disagreements arose between her and Lu Chongsheng, would he use such a Gu on her too? This thought caused her heart to suddenly tremble. This strand of love thread should not break away now, right? Lu Chongsheng was unaware of Ling Zixiao's wild thoughts, quietly sensing his own love thread with Nangong melee. He knew that to make Nangong melee as deeply affectionate as Meng Xiaochan was, it would take a considerable amount of time. However, merely binding Nangong melee and causing her to develop a fondness and favorable impression of him should not be difficult. But, after all, Nangong melee was a nascent soul immortal. And the Lockhart Gu had been kept in a dormant state by him, currently weak. Therefore he couldn't help but harbor some worries. Even if Nangong melee regains consciousness, she will be in a weakened state. As long as I'm careful, even if she breaks free from the Lockhart Gu, I have nothing to fear, Lu Chongsheng thought to himself. His confidence in acting this way stemmed not only from the Lockhart Gu but also from facing a weakened Nangong melee. Cough, cough, Xiaochan, go stand guard over there. Lu Chongsheng prepared to heal Nangong melee. Seeing Meng Xiaochan kneeling at the side, he cleared his throat and spoke. Although he didn't mind her presence, it still felt somewhat awkward having her watch from the side. As for Ling Zixiao, he didn't care much. He considered it a way to acclimate her to such an atmosphere in advance. Oh, all right. Upon hearing this, Meng Xiaochan readily understood what was to follow. Her delicate face blushed as she quickly moved to another spot to stand guard. Ling Zixiao glanced at Lu Chongqing with some surprise, not expecting him to exclude Meng Xiaochan from the process. She took her place at the center of the formation, fully operating it. She did this to prevent any leakage of Nangong Meili's aura during this time, which might alert the Heavenly Sword sect. Huff! Lu Chongqing exhaled softly, raised his hand to remove the gauzy garment covering Nangong Meili. He then untied the sash at his waist, allowing the black skirt to fall away. A stunningly voluptuous and irresistibly alluring female body laid bare before Lu Chengsheng's eyes. Instantly, the bright moonlight seemed to get lost and fall into the bewitching charm of this enchanting demonic woman. Her curves were smooth and round, every inch silkily delicate, with skin like creamy jade, her sanctified allure overwhelming in its beauty. Yet it seemed to contain boundless ferocity, capable of provoking the deepest desires, igniting one's blood with passion. Huff! Lu Chengsheng's breath became slightly rapid. Because the figure before him was truly that of a seductive devil straight out of hell. The exquisitely beautiful, unconscious pale face was captivating and alluring, evoking a boundless ferocity and possessive urge to ravish her upon pitying sight. He did not restrain himself. Confronting his own desires, he undressed and began to heal her.